It's perfect. I was like, wait, that makes no sense, dude.
We are live.
Cover my head. Are we live? Are we live?
Yes, we've been live.
It's episode 43 of the longest running joke in this room. We are live. Let's see. We're cracking a beer. Hey, welcome to the Westmouth Variety ShYo. And today's special guest, Matt, Devon.
Yo.
Say your last name.
Matt Denny's.
Devon DiBona.
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 That's what I thought.
It's an A.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
You would think that I just met them, pulled them in off the street
For real.
from Thrusters.
Yeah, we were just at Thrusters hanging out at the bar, and this guy walked in.
Yeah,
We needed some special guests.
we've successfully run off every guest that ever wanted to be on this show. So I had to grab a couple people from Thrusters, the bar next door. And, for anyone that can't figure out the name of that bar, it's always been a little subject for debate. Do you know why?
I don't.
I don't.
I'm pretty sure it's because of the type of surfboard called a thruster.
Really?
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty
I've
sure
never
that's what
heard
it comes
of
from.
that.
Yeah. It's been a lot of, So, folks, for anyone now or later who doesn't realize that we are less than 2 blocks from the beach, we are less than 2 blocks from the beach.
Right, yeah.
And that's why it would make sense to have a bar called Thrusters. So let's see what we're going to do today. Normally we have some announcements.
Let's
We'll start with you. Do you have any announcements? It could be anything. A gig, getting married, buying
We're
speakers,
officially dating.
Officially dating, yeah. That's the official word on the block.
sold your cat.
Oh,
We are so going to talk
Are
about
we
that.
gonna start with that?
So, yeah,
Is
that's how we do here.
We're gonna dive into this.
That's how we do. We say we're gonna talk about unicorns, and we just dive right
And then
into
we're going
domestic
pets.
issues.
I
Yeah.
want to make a girl cry.
Oh, boy.
All right. That's what we're doing on a Thursday night. Better start drinking.
Kelly, any events? What do you got going on?
No, I've got nothing.
Zero.
Oh, yeah, we're watching
I
Cross
did
this
last
weekend.
weekend. That was it.
I think it's the first time on the variety show where not a single guest has a life.
My next show is a variety show, I'm pretty sure.
Let's see, we got 3 variety shows. Actually, everybody, now I've finally figured it out. The reason we do this show is so that when when nobody else wants us to do their shows, we have a show. Whew.
Yeah.
So start your own show, folks. We need more shows. What was I going to say? I do actually have some announcements. I always have something going on. We just launched the event for the first Juice Night Out party in San Francisco. That's what we did.
Ooh.
That'll be the 21st of April.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Where in San Francisco?
It's Saturday, the 21st of April. For anybody listening, if you're on here and bored or later, which means anytime between now, what's today's date?
March 1st.
This is March 1st.
February now.
So do the math, folks. This is March 1st. There's a lot of days between now and April 21st, right? Almost 2 months. So you could hear this at any time in the next 47 days and still help us promote. And we appreciate
Let's
it.
do it.
We appreciate
My
it.
brother.
Yeah.
Let him know the barrier.
That's right.
So
Awesome.
Andrew,
Yeah.
you better be listening.
But Facebook event is out. Shuey and I are playing, but that always happens.
Really?
Yes, I mean it's special.
Awesome.
That always happens though. When I'm in San Francisco, that's the way it's done.
Maybe we'll go.
We're gonna get close to that. I'm always down.
It is my birthday month.
That was the only reason we needed to do today. Just to suck y'all into attending the show in
We're
San
coming to the
Francisco.
Bay Area.
Shuey, we've got nostalgia sitting around. Shuey is a space cowboy. Can you see that medal?
Nice.
I got that at Burning Man, not last year, but the year before.
Yeah.
Pretty neat, huh? Space Cowboys
That's cool,
Space Cowboys don't mess around.
That's
That was
really
for their
cool.
that was for their 20th anniversary.
That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right. So details for, I know I get sidetracked. It's just what happens here. Details. Get this. JuiceNightOut.com.
I think you can remember it.
Keeping it simple.
Is it going to be night show or a day show?
It's nighttime.
Nice.
Yeah. It's almost like we planned it that way. So if we have a juice day out, it's during the day. And in fact, if you want the explanation of the difference between day out and night out,
I need it.
it's on the website. Check it out.
Okay.
What's the website again?
Yeah.
JuiceNightOut.com.
Plug.
What are you guys
Oh,
drinking? What do you have?
Along with that, it's time for some unofficial sponsors.
Woo. Oh, nice. Okay. Yep.
What are we drinking today?
Kelly Cream
We
Ale.
always like to
Cheers.
cheers. We always like to wow people with our
It's a cream ale.
endless supply of
Where am
different
I?
beers.
Don't forget me.
You're over here.
Oh, cool.
See,
Go
if
ahead.
you go over here, you're over here. Yeah, see, we're crossing the streams.
Okay. Hold on. There we go. Beer. Got it.
Cheers, Kelly.
Cheers, Kelly. Cali cream and vanilla cream ale.
My neighbor brought me over a Coors Light, so
That's a great person.
Wait a second. Trying to keep on track. There's a release out and about. And get this, folks. The name of that release is Juice Night Out, Volume 1. Yeah. It came out a week ago. It's still out, and it's charting in absolutely nothing.
There you go.
We can. It's charting in your heart. It's charting in hearts around the world. Spotify loves it. Everybody loves it. No, it's doing fine. It is. You know, it's in the house and bass house genre, so those are always really hard to chart in. Unless you are maybe night bass or
They're everywhere.
someone like that, you know, maybe Dirty Bird, you know, you could get those top slots. Aspirations. But along those lines, as long as we're talking about juice, look at this awesomeness, Kelly Ross.
Is that? Wow. Who's that?
What? Devin, please explain this.
It's string art, and I just basically copied the Juice logo, put a bunch of nails in a piece of wood, and got some string and did the damn thing.
So creative.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So creative. Yeah, don't let her fool you, folks. You just kind of do art for fun, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, like whatever.
I really don't like doing it when people tell me to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you like
It's-
doing anything when people tell you to?
This is
It's
no.
gotta be on her terms.
You're right. I am from Boston. People don't tell me to.
Okay, now that we got that out of the way.
So we're getting mail right now, and Bradley McGuire says he typed juicenightout.com and it took him to this site, www.yobig or yohome.com. It's Juice Yo Events.
That's right.
That is the correct site. Yes.
Yeah, it worked.
There we
Yeah,
go.
that's
We're cheeky like that.
Is
You
that
see,
it?
we got technology gerbils over here. So what we do,
Oh no! Everything fell.
we forward domains, you know, this kind of stuff. So that will land you on the event page, my friends. So Bradley McGuire,
Yes, Brad.
thank you so much. Is that Bradley Drop, Bradley McGuire?
Oh, that's Bradley Drop. Yes,
Sweet, dude. What's up, Bradley? Thanks for listening.
Brad.
I didn't put anything to hang it. Sorry.
We'll see. We'll see how Bradley's faring about an hour from now, when he's completely lost 57 minutes of his life. You know, that is. I can't remember the last time somebody crafted. I'm about to cry because I can't remember the last time somebody crafted a piece of juice.
Yay.
I do have a couple pieces from over the years, but they are not in here, and that tells you how long ago it was that they were given to me.
Well, I'm glad.
Awesome.
Sweet.
And, you know, folks, if you want your shit to hang in the office over here in the studio, make cool stuff like that.
Yeah, that's special, man.
Good done.
And then hit up Kelly Ross and ask her for the super secret mailing address. And it'll make its way here.
And maybe we'll send you some stickers.
That's right.
Give her some stickers.
That's right.
Stickers.
Yeah.
All right. Have y'all ever watched one of these episodes?
Yeah, I watched
It's
it with
okay if
family
you haven't.
last year.
Oh, for
Or
sure.
Okay.
yes, the other day, last week.
God, a couple. What was the format of that one? We played a game, didn't we?
Battleship.
Oh yeah.
You guys totally played Battleship.
How weird is it watching Battleship? Like if you're not playing or giving
Yeah,
input?
You gotta have the
You
camera
can
going
see
back
both
and forth.
sides.
Yeah, you gotta have it switching off. So you know what's going
You
on.
can tell we totally thought that through. So Kelly's sitting there watching us try to cheat. That was with Cameron. Yes.
Oh,
You
okay.
suck, man.
Another, that's right.
As we just do the song.
Unofficial sponsor number 2, CaliforniaSockCompany.com. Is that
I'm wearing
right?
them. Yeah.
Yeah, we're
Well, let's just get into the socks.
Okay, sock time.
Oh, we're talking socks now.
All right, let's see.
What's up? Y'all go first.
Hey.
Okay.
I'll do some tidying of the table.
I got these because they actually look like the new Bass Nectar album cover.
Do they?
Reflective.
And they're so pretty.
Yeah, they're awesome. And they
then
kind of go with the unicorn poop theme.
Are you kidding? Yeah.
Yeah.
All things unicorn in this
Anything
place.
unicorn is well
They're my favorite, and they're super comfy.
Unicorns all play Battleship. We're putting that away.
Oh, you're wearing them.
What you got? What you got, Matt?
I got some Matt Dre socks. Some feed from the Bay Area. I don't know if you
What is
these.
That's Matt
That's my
Dre.
rapper, man. That's
Who?
who.
You don't know
You know
Matt
who
Dre?
Matt Dre is? Oh, that's the Bay Area
Oh,
rapper.
good
Back
Lord. What are we doing here? Is it
Yeah,
been an
I know,
hour
right?
yet?
Well,
Come on.
you mean you
Oh my
just
God.
asked that question now?
I got a name on that one.
Oh, let's see the other one. Yeah.
It took them 2 weeks to ask that question?
So
Wow.
we're done
So
here.
you came prepared. Yeah, got the socks going.
All right, folks, we're gonna leave Connect 4 close by. That's good for simple minds. Someone sent me some candy. That was awesome.
Oh, that's really
Ooh.
sweet.
She's
Oh,
gone.
yeah. Did they send you an empty package?
Great.
Let's see what's in here. More
Ooh.
more gifts.
Oatmeal cookies.
This is the gift episode.
Be
Yeah,
careful
it's the
with those,
all-time
yeah.
gift episode.
So I made these the other day, and my roommates were loving them, and they're really good, actually.
Yeah, I'm
What
pretty
is
sure
going
it's
on in
41
here? It's
nights.
awesome.
They're oatmeal
There.
cookies with the glaze on them.
Yeah.
You know those oatmeal, the oatmeal cookies they get at the store that are like they're thinner and they're a little bit crispier.
They're like
usually.
cinnamony too, huh? There's cinnamon in there?
Yeah, there is.
Look, folks. First time ever, cookies, Variety ShYo.
Are they?
I didn't have any
First time.
nutmeg, so I put in more cinnamon. So hopefully they're not too cinnamony. They're nice and soft,
I think they're
airy.
pretty good.
Please tell me they're spiked. I want you to eat more, Wes.
Yeah.
What?
I said, please tell me they're spiked. Eat more, Wes. Eat more.
I wish they were.
You should.
We are in California.
We're trying to whittle it down here where we have some space to get into new games.
What's this?
Oh,
Back?
yeah.
I definitely played this back when I was a young lad.
Well, I
You were-
think this game is
Pick up 6. Oh my God.
You have to pick it up with like.
you kind of I think you do like something like this.
You gotta make it.
That's terrible, right? How do you do this? This is what I don't understand. Is how do you get this to work?
I don't think
Let me
I've
move
ever
all
tried
this
that.
stuff. Yeah, let's move it all. Move it all. Star Wars out of the way. Space Cowboys out of the way.
You would think he'd read the directions before the variety show.
There's directions.
Are there
They're in
directions?
the box.
Oh, I think I.
Maybe Devon is good with directions while I'm sitting here. Maybe the box plays a role in that. That was pathetic, folks.
So
Can we rewind, please?
Yeah, let's start this over. Get into the-
to set up a game, one player gathers all pickup sticks in a closed hand, holding all the sticks in a vertical position. The player quickly releases and drops all sticks on the table.
Right?
Yeah, do it over.
The player may repeat the drop if it's unsatisfactory. It actually does say that.
If you are not 36 inches tall, you can repeat the drop.
If you do not get the drop right,
That was a good one.
But what does that do? Like, how do you
Okay.
now play?
The next player begins by trying to lift one stick at a time without moving any of the other sticks. If another stick is moved out of place, the player's turn is over.
But half of them are just sitting by themselves.
Yeah, so what happens? Can I just like pick up the red
I think
one?
you have to redo it. I think this is like breaking a pool cue, right?
I have no idea.
Kelly, didn't you just play an event?
yes, I did.
What was that? Tell us about that since this is going really
Yeah,
well.
That up. I just played an event for Sounds So Sweet in Brooklyn, and it was happy hardcore, drum and bass, and dubstep, and it was really cool. It was.
What did you play? Happy hardcore?
I definitely did not. I played drum and bass. Sorry. I probably should. I'm just. Can you imagine me playing heavy? There's nothing wrong with it. But could you imagine me playing that? I don't think it would go over very well.
Since we always have the most listeners at the beginning before they realize that they've been trapped in a tunnel.
I think
my favorite ask of everybody today is not anything to do with nothing to do with me. Anytime you see anything drum and bass on Facebook, I would like you to tag Kelly Ross.
That's
Because one of the things I love about social media, and maybe y'all can explain to me, is like people see something and maybe they're in a hurry. I don't quite get it, but they just hit reply and tag a friend. No explanation, no nothing. I guess it just means take a look at this.
That's what I.
That's the deal.
That's what I think. Yeah.
I mean,
all right. So I called it right. So everybody, please, now and forever,
throw the name in there.
See anything drum and bass, whether or not you think Kelly will like it, please tag her.
I'm just gonna start following a whole lot of drum and bass stuff and tagging her every day.
Kelly told me she doesn't get near enough messages. Yeah, well, she doesn't get enough messages.
No, please don't say that. I've actually got my messages down to like 4 right now, which has never happened in the entirety of Facebook. And
that's pretty good, everybody, because she's definitely not answering my messages. So whoever's in there is doing awesome. She's definitely not answering mine.
Oh, sweet.
Kind of better.
Okay. I think that was a good one.
I'm still a little confused as to how you don't make anything.
Pick up a stick that doesn't move another stick.
Yeah. You suck.
Game's over.
Yeah.
All right, let's see.
You lost your turn.
This game. I don't think you put it back.
I'm pretty sure.
No, you don't put it back.
No, we need the box.
Wait.
Gotta have a box to put it back in the box.
Wait, what happened? What?
He picked up a stick. We think he failed, but
I'm
we're gonna let it slide.
I didn't do that right.
We're gonna let it slide because we're just getting started.
The different colors have different values.
Okay.
So the black sticks are 20.
With a laugh.
Yeah, wait.
Now,
I didn't read that real quick.
20 black.
Now wait a minute. I need to explain the purpose of having all games that are, I think it says, for children 8 and under.
Because we can't figure them out.
That's part of it. The other part of it is that we're actually supposed to have some sort of discussion and entertainment going on while we're playing the game. This is a total experiment in 2018. We never had games on before.
We can do this.
In the Variety Show. So Kelly, when did we start? Episode 39? It was chess with DJ Ideal.
Ooh,
you played chess in here?
Dude,
you
chess
guys went rogue on that.
That takes a lot of
That was 39, right, Kelly?
Yeah, that was 39. They went rogue on that. They were like, okay, let's start something completely new. And then you did it on a Sunday. And they were like, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was brutal. 2.5 hours. Me and DJ Ideal playing chess. And there were spots that were like 10 minutes with no speed.
I was gonna say, you just sitting
there. So when you're listening on SoundCloud, it's riveting. It's riveting. You have no idea. You're like, oh my God, what's gonna happen next?
You actually have to go to the video and be like, did they just leave?
Yeah.
Because that made me funny in itself. But the only other time, and I thought because we're now at episode 44, I thought it would make sense if I can remember, or you can remember, Kelly, any highlight reel moments from the past episodes, we would shout them out, and then maybe somebody new to all this would go check it out. And the only other silent episode I can ever think of was actually the very first one, and Kelly knows. No, second one. It was with Omega Squad.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
They just disappeared.
They just left.
Literally disappeared. Yeah, go watch the episode. Kelly and I are talking away. Brian Skandar there on the other side. Not like this. You know, we did that back in the day when everyone was remote.
They were video.
Yeah, nobody was in the same room. And I'm like talking to Kelly, and then I'm looking at the camera. I'm like, did you switch the? No. Where'd they go?
No, they were like, we need a break.
Like, you guys good now? You take a break? Oh, what's up, dudes? We're just
like,
like, I think they thought the episode was over, and they left and came back.
Oh wow!
I think we should bring him back.
Oh, we're bringing him back. We're bringing Omega Man back.
Omega there we go.
What we're not sure of, and I really will only talk about this with this group, and I'll tell you why in a second. We're not sure if it's Omega Squad or Omega Man.
It's got to be Omega Man.
We just don't know.
They split,
it's not a squad anymore. It's a man. Oh.
We saw him perform, and it was only one person.
Oh, okay.
Which, you know, that's okay. Stanton Warriors does it all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
So we all get that.
Yeah.
Right? I'm sure there's others. Yeah. Crystal Method does it.
Yeah.
Like, various people do it.
Yeah.
But, well, okay, so this is interesting. So the Crystal Method kind of gets a hall pass for 2 reasons, in my opinion. One, innovators of the whole thing.
All reasons.
Yeah. So you kind of get a hall pass if you're somewhere in the early part of all this ridiculousness that's happening now. But even more so, I don't think the word Crystal Method is plural.
True.
No.
Is it?
No. Well, because it's the crystal. Well,
Right.
I would say the crystal method. That's
So you
like
could-
pretty similar.
You could think about this for a while and be like, I'm not sure. Is the crystal method? What is a crystal method? You could
Right.
ask that.
It could be, yeah.
We're gonna bust out your shirt.
The world may never know.
It's a picture on my wall.
Hey, let's phone a friend. Ken?
Let's phone a friend. Well, Ken's actually in Costa Rica, so
Well,
so we know that we okay. The other one I mentioned, let's say for example, Stanton Warriors.
Yeah.
That indicates plural.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Jeez.
So and they actually I think when y'all saw them at BOC, it was 2 of them, right?
Both of them,
Yeah.
yeah. And
Yes.
we saw them in
And we
LA.
saw them lots
Right.
of 1-3.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So I think you never know why. It's kind of nice to have 2 people, really, because if something happens, someone can't come,
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
Plump DJs, for example.
That's kind of the same with Claptone too. It's multiple guys, and then
Is it?
they're playing like multiple gigs on the same night because they always wear that mask. So
Ah.
DJ's always wearing the mask. You don't know really who
You
you're
never
getting.
really know who it is.
Yeah.
It could
I've
be,
seen-
it could be Marshmallow.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It could be
Yeah.
the potential.
Camel fat is the new Marshmallow.
You'll never know.
All right, folks. We had to get some music talk in on this episode.
Yeah.
Real quick, I'm going to pick up a stick. That's the thing. See, it's hard to do both at the same time. Actually, it's not. You're waiting on me.
Let's see what yellow is.
Yellow.
Yellow's 5 points.
I got 5 points.
I'm winning.
So there was only one black.
You mean we have to
stick
keep
on
track
this
of score
table,
now,
so there's
too?
120.
Yeah, she got the 20.
Let's talk about BOC since you're already on.
Yeah.
We'll see.
should
Well,
probably do
you
that.
got moved. You were supposed to play later, right?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you got switched to the early set.
I was early.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
I
we
was-
have
So I
we
found
have
out-
you two at
I-
BOC
I
Yeah.
and
texted
Kelly at BOC.
I
Yeah.
texted Wes because I saw your name on there and I was like, oh, Juice. And I was like, you're going to be there, right? And he's like, no. And I was like, so I listened. I hadn't heard of you, sorry. But so I listened to your stuff and I was like, holy crap, like we need to go see her. And you actually commented back on me today on your SoundCloud.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, I wonder if she's putting 2 and 2 together right now.
yeah, I did.
That's why Kelly's been putting herself through the pain of the variety show for 44 episodes because she wants to go about the most difficult way on earth to collect one fan at a time.
I'm a fan. I'm there. Yeah, we were
You asked about the Think You Freaky. Yeah, I gotcha.
Yes. We went 2 years ago when we went to Breakfast Champions. We
Yeah.
got there super
We
early,
were
right
there.
when it started,
I just
6:30 in the
picked one up. I got
morning. And then loved it, obviously. And then when we went back this year, we wanted to see you, but we didn't get there till like probably 9:30 in the morning. I was so bummed. So bummed.
Yeah, because you were supposed to close it out, right?
No.
Oh, okay. What was your original set time? Because
Kelly, stick to that story.
Yeah, I was supposed to close it out, man, and then they
I thought you were
I was like, oh my god, and it was over. No, I played. When did they open at 6? I played
You
at
know, like a
7.
7:30.
Yeah, I played at 7. I played like a liquid drum and bass set. See, hashtag drum and bass.
Good.
Were you outside or were you inside?
Yeah.
I was inside in the I was inside.
And are you
in
in
the
the main room or that
smaller-
small side one?
Yes.
The side room?
Yes.
That's
Okay.
I like that side room.
Yeah, I do
That's
too.
where we saw Kevnol 2 years ago. And
Yeah,
that
we saw
was a
some.
blast.
We saw some
Kev,
girls
no, he's
last
awesome.
year. Yeah,
he
with
was
these
really fun.
with Tecate cans curled into their hair like curlers, and they're just getting it. I was like,
Losing it.
what is like? Where am
Yeah.
I right now?
that was the intro.
It's the best party.
Oh,
Thank
it's
you,
so
Space
good.
Cowboys.
Anybody
Yes.
listening?
Yeah, tell them
Let's
what it
see.
is.
Well, I thought I'd rewind on a couple things. Hold on 1 second.
Someone knocking? Yeah. Who can that be?
No one's ever knocked on the door in the history of
Hey.
What's this?
You got a special guest.
What are you doing? Hey, guest.
Pick up
I
a
think
stick.
it's time for yet another unofficial sponsor.
Pick up a stick.
This is Art by Autumn. She has walked in. There's cameras here, everywhere. They're everywhere.
Hey.
You've walked into technology.
Yeah.
Yes.
How are you today?
Awesome. How are you?
Thanks for the game.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
Oh God, there's directions. We're gonna have to.
Oh, we gotta read more directions.
I'm gonna paint some bananas.
Yay!
Nice.
Sweet. Are you gonna paint that now? Oh, sweet. We bring.
I'm just trying to feel the banana energy.
Will you bring it back over when you're done?
My banana?
Yeah, and show it to us.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, we want to see the banana.
Art by Autumn. Check her out.
I love you all.
No lie. How can people find you? Aside from giving out the address, which we don't do on this show.
Well, ultimately, if you like feel love, I'm a magnet for the frequency of love. So if you feel love, you'll probably find me.
Yay!
And social media, Art by Autumn.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Hey, for any San Diego people that walk around the beaches and you see cool love art made from chalk, it's probably her.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's all over with it.
Do you do the stamps on the sidewalk?
It's a chalk.
Oh,
I do all the love. There's a stamp that's saying love more or something right now. I didn't do it.
Okay.
I did all the chalk.
I love chalk.
Chalk.
Love.
This is
Temperate.
environmentally conscious.
Come over and draw on our
Ooh,
wall.
this is
So
yes.
Oh
That's a
my
good
God, we
idea.
have 2 whole chalkboard walls.
We could use a whole lot of chalkboard.
Yeah, you could use a little bit of love.
Yeah.
When you paint the banana, please come back.
Yeah.
We've
It's
never.
a long process.
Today's episode is just an episode of bizarre first time. Never had a person walk in during the show, and definitely never had a banana painted.
Let's
Yeah, I
make it
realized
happen.
I'm like, I should paint about the things that I love.
Yeah.
So I just paint about love. And I'm like, Autumn, what do you love? And I was like, I love bananas.
It's an art co-op, folks.
Yes. Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
Whew, whose turn is it?
I don't know.
I think, did you go
My
again?
turn?
Probably me, or did you go?
Well,
I
there's
haven't gone yet.
6 of them in there, and I
Um,
went first.
let me take a look at my cool Apple Watch.
You're so techy.
Yeah, I'm so on the grid. No, the reason I was doing that, I was going to say because let's see. Well, we were 10 minutes late. Technical difficulties.
Yes.
Not their fault, folks. Like most of the time, it's the guests that can't find the place or
I was
parking
20
or something.
minutes early.
They were so early. So I want to make sure now that anyone that started listening is no longer here, probably, I want to make sure that I explain that we were not late because of them. And the reason that they were on, the reason I invited them was because we've hung out a fair amount of times.
Yes.
Watching both plural and singular groups that probably should have 1 or 2 people or
Very
more.
true.
Definitely.
Yeah, like what's it been now? Maybe a year and a half? Year.
It's
least
Since
maybe-
your first Juice Day Out show.
Yeah.
That was the first one.
The first time we heard of you was at
about a year.
At BOC for
Okay,
Shui.
so a little over a year then.
We met Shui at BOC last year, and then she mentioned that's when she was
Said-
coming down here to play with you at Blombar.
Yeah, a little over a year.
And we were going up for Excision in LA.
Yeah, we missed
Right.
you that time.
I got thrown up
Right.
on in line.
Oh, yeah.
It
Oh.
was a really
So y'all are
good
the
time.
first 2, and this is what I wanted to get to. Perfect segue.
Hey.
Folks, we don't plan this. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, this is not financial advice. Please do not take anything we say here and go make decisions on how to steer your life.
Please don't.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
That out of the way. No, because I thought like it's almost always been, well, it's always been people I've met through music, for sure. That's always been the premise of the show. It doesn't really mean that the people have to be like DJs or producers or that kind of thing.
Right.
When we first launched, we used to get requests all the time. People thought it was a mix show. Remember those days, Kelly?
Yeah, I do. I remember those well. They still kind of happen. You're just not.
They just go to her.
It still happens. Just check my inbox. It's fine.
Right. So anytime we post, which is usually Kelly doing the posting about the show, people will be like, "God, can I send you a mix for what? The show? Have you ever watched the show? Oh yeah, I watch it all the time. Well, you must not because you're sending us a mix.
Yeah,
There's never
we're
been a
talking.
DJ. There's never been a DJ mix ever.
Yeah, Eric Rigsby posts stuff sometimes.
Yeah, I came over
Yeah,
with
yeah,
USB
we go back and forth on that.
Did he really?
No, like we don't do that here. No, but anyway, so my point was, y'all are the first people that I know from music that are not, a working DJ or producer or vocalist, keyboardist. We've had some finger drummers, some scratch artists, DMC people, like DMC scratch people. What other variety of music performers? That's That's my sketchy seal.
I see that. I know. I gotcha.
Anyway, point is, I thought it'd be fun, not just because I like you all, but because you're like fans of music.
Yeah.
That's how we met.
Big fans of music.
That's how we met for sure.
So 35 minutes into the show, we're gonna get to that part about, there's definitely people that watch this or listen to it later that are not from Southern California,
Right.
or even the West Coast.
Right.
And I thought y'all would be two awesome ones to describe, your experience in California. It's awesome. Yeah. I've talked enough about mine on here, so I don't know. Lay it out. Go back in time. Where'd y'all meet? You said you met at a show.
We met at Dub Dorado at El Dorado Cocktail Lounge, which used to be El Dorado's a bar here, but Dub Dorado used to happen every other Wednesday.
That was the name of the party?
Dub Dorado. It was a heavy dubstep show. Like, it was
okay.
And that's when I first started getting into electronic music. That's what I loved pretty much forever. And it's a little bit too much for me now, but that's where we met. It's like 7 years ago, right when I turned 21.
Now, was that because now there's still like the headbang thing is still,
Yeah,
was that
headbang.
It wasn't
or no?
headbang, no.
Because now it's all about the
like
headbang.
just grimy getting down, like
Yeah.
right up against the speaker, how can I blow my
People
ears
were
out?
jamming out,
Right.
even at the Excision shows, like you see people like literally all they're doing is just like whipping their head back and forth.
Yeah.
And it's just like I don't know.
That's now. You're saying.
That's now.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember that from before.
No.
But
No. Dub Dorado was a good time.
It was the
Dub
best.
Dorado.
It was some of the best
Yeah.
stuff I've
is the bar still in business?
El Dorado Cocktail Lounge. It's right on Broadway and 11.
Something like that. It's right by
Alright.
City College.
Yeah.
There's like the MTS transit
It's a little
station right
dive
there,
bar.
too.
El Dorado Cocktail Lounge, folks. That's the destination
Bring back
spot.
Dub Dorado,
It's
I'll
still a
go.
good
Bring
spot.
back Dub
It's still
Dorado.
a good spot. Yeah.
I was so brokenhearted when it ended.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was that in Voyeur. Those are
Voyeur
the two
was-
spots that.
Voyeur was
Is it my turn?
I think so,
it
yeah.
is your turn.
Voyeur was the club in San Diego to go to for
Yeah.
sure.
Okay.
That was
But-
back before-
What was Voyeur? Where was that as well?
6th and Market,
What did they get
I
turned into,
believe.
like,
It
cake or
got
something?
turned into Cake,
Cake,
which was
yeah.
like a really pretty,
Cake was like a bottle club, wasn't it?
yeah,
like
yeah,
sparklers
it was
and things?
super,
Yeah.
yeah. And
It's not there anymore, is
Voyeur
it?
was like, no,
Wait,
it's your turn.
It's your
But
turn.
Voyeur was like dark, grungy.
Kind of makes sense. Goes with the name.
Yeah, and it was
Yeah.
such a great club.
They brought in a lot of good
Where
talent
were
there,
like
too.
cross streets? What was that?
I think it was 6th and Market.
Okay.
Yeah.
Downtown.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
downtown.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah. Gaslamp, for sure,
It's
yeah.
right. It's actually right near the Hustler and the TGI Fridays.
Yeah.
Hustler and the TGI
Yes.
Fridays.
And the Deer Deli.
Folks,
Where
you
that
definitely
is.
got to hit the TGI Fridays next to Hustler.
So delicious.
I mean, I'm a little bit jealous. We have a Fridays right here, but we don't have a Hustler.
It's a nice house. It's like 2
See,
levels.
you're
This
doing it right.
Hustler. It's a good one.
I might would go more if I knew that, but anyway.
Yeah, Voyeur was the place to be,
Yeah.
and that ended probably like.
And what
4
kind of
years
music
ago.
was that?
They brought in
Voyeur?
a lot of different stuff. It was, but that was back when dubstep was more prominent back
It
then.
was dubstep bass.
like
they
heavy
didn't-
bass.
Yeah, like Nero was down here too. So
Yeah,
it wasn't
they
only
brought
dubstep.
pendulums,
All right, so
that.
we're going back like 6-7 years now, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm
Which is-
27 now.
But that's
so-
almost at the beginning of that's close to the beginning of like dubstep hitting
Yeah,
a platform.
Right.
yeah.
right?
It was really.
Yeah.
it
Like
was
that's like
just
Skrillex's Grammy.
kicking.
That was short
Time,
after like
exactly,
Casper
yeah.
right in that
Ruska.
vein.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Casper
Kelly,
Ruska.
do you know when Skrillex got nominated? I don't know if he won one or got nominated.
I don't know.
That was probably like
I can check.
went down, but
Kelly is also, for anyone that doesn't know, DJ name Agent 137.
Yeah, that's me.
So
drum and bass is double agent.
Double Agent 137 does drum and bass. She's also, I guess, was a Triple Agent 137. She sleuths out things on the Variety Show. She's slightly quicker than me, and I'm just about like a 3-toed sloth most of the time, trying to find things on the interwebs.
He has
Um,
several
We're
Grammy
looking
awards.
for Skrillex's first Grammy nomination. What year that was?
He has several Grammys. Did you know this?
Oh yeah, I knew.
Yeah.
I knew he's won. I'm sure he's won 2.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
I
in
don't know.
2000
But I'm pretty sure the first year nominated he didn't win, but he was there. And it
2012.
was,
2012.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I
'cause
turned
that
21 in
was-
2011.
there you go.
Yeah.
So
that was
yeah,
when he was in that
right around.
Best Buy commercial. Like that was
Yeah.
Best Buy had that like it was
Yeah.
that GoPro
Yeah.
commercial, and it was that
Yeah.
Skrillex dubstep
Yeah.
in the background, and it was like, whoa.
Yeah.
That was like the turning point. Was like electronic music in commercials.
I just remember, like, I think the first time I saw footage of him, it was like, you know, not like a Boiler Room thing. It was definitely one of the bigger dubsteppy things when he was doing just that. And it was like, I just remember him leaning all the way back. You know, he's got that long hair. And then all forward and like switching it, like, you know, just like, I don't know, like hair metal band guitar player style.
Yeah.
Like that's the only other time I'd really seen
because he was in from first to last. He was
right, and he's a rocker, so it's kind of you know he kind of just worked that in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so dubstep. What happened after Voyeur became Cake? Cake, like most bottle clubs with candles.
It's horrible.
Yeah, and girls that don't really want to work there.
Well, right when Voyeur closed, Bang Bang opened.
Yeah. That was a
Bang Bang is like the newer club now in San Diego. It plays a lot of house music.
That's the same location?
No, but it was like they're
nearby.
Yeah, and a lot of the people that actually worked at Voyeur merged over to Bang Bang.
I wonder with all the
Spin also too.
The thing that crossed my mind about Cake, and the reason I actually remember them was because on Instagram, we used to always see their photos,
girls.
and it was always the girls. Like I thought it was a strip club.
It was awful.
Yes.
And there's one other now that I always think is a strip club, but I can't remember which one it is.
Flux?
I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing per se. Like, whatever. I'm not saying it to like call them out like I hate it. I'm just saying it. You don't know. Like, it's a little confusing. Right?
Yeah.
You're like, what gets played there? Like, or whatever, right? Like, what is this place?
Well, and they didn't bring in any, like, known DJ at all. It was strictly, like, just kind of like a top 40s or... Well, that's what it seemed like to me. I went there once, and I was like, I have to get out of here.
Well, Brandon did all the booking at Voyeur, and then he's at Spin. Yeah, he went to Spin.
Yeah, now Brandon works at
Spin. Like
that's the Brandon that's over there.
Yeah, I feel like after Voyeur went down, like Spin, I think I'd been to Spin a couple times. And I don't know if Ego Trip and Bass Drive were doing the parties there, but like once Voyeur stopped being Voyeur, Spin ended up being the go-to for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
because I only really knew about Spin maybe the last, like, say, 3 or 4 years, I guess.
Yeah, it definitely started blowing up more, I would say, when Voyeur went out and Brandon started managing. Like,
that's how I met Spin. Is how I met Brian Millar, Mega Man.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
How you met him?
Yeah, I love Spin. Spin is the place to be for sure.
Yeah, that's
it was fun. They were doing he and Wobble. There was another Brian, Brian Millar, and then another Brian that were throwing parties as Wobble. And occasionally they still do. You'll see that. And
I've seen Wobble before.
Yeah, they had Stan Wares there that night. That's when I met Brian.
What?
At Spin?
Yeah.
Oh, come back.
It was a Voyeur that night, but it was. Which is almost predestiny, because if the first night I met him was while watching a plural group as one.
It
only makes sense that Omega Squad
or Stand Warriors.
Yeah, that should be specific, the flyer specific.
But I heard it a lot of the time. It is only one. When we were in LA, they were like, it's really special to be seeing
that one
both
guy
of them.
That,
which is kind of ironic because what you should be saying is for any group. I mean, I know those guys, fine chaps, fine Englishmen.
Yeah, they seem
but for any group, it's just weird. Like, wait a minute, you create specialness by not doing what you're supposed to be doing?
Right, yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, I would never have expected to
go and not
Yeah.
But good for you, man.
Yeah.
When it's one, though, it's Dom. It's never just Mark. It's never Mark.
Yeah, it's always Dom,
Yeah, that's what the guy was saying, right? He was what's the other guy? I forget the other guy's name.
Mark.
Yeah. Dom's always there. It's a treat when you see Mark there, too.
I'm wondering what that's going to be at Music Box, if it's going to be both of them or one, because I think...
Don't know.
I'm excited for that.
They've been touring more with both of them lately.
Yeah, because when at Breakfast of Champions, it was them, both of them, and then I think it might be both of them at Music Box with Omega Man.
Right.
Which would be amazing.
Well, maybe we'll come back to the plural, non-plural later. But
I would like to see Omega Squad.
For anyone who's never seen the Squad,
I want to see the Squad.
I have seen the Squad.
So which one is Omega Man then? Which one is
Brian?
Oh, it's Brian. Okay.
Oh my God! Oh, he's so good.
Yeah,
he
so much
opened
fun.
for Crystal Method.
That's
right.
Yeah. There's nobody that there's no DJ. There's no DJ I've ever seen that's not in a headline or slot that gets down like Brian Millar.
Yeah, he was loving his own music.
I mean, I've never seen a DJ that's not the main act get down like that.
Yeah.
Didn't care.
No.
Don't care.
You totally
Don't care.
Yeah.
Like, you could have been like, yo, Brian, you know, there's 300 people out there. And he's just like, what? Oh, cool.
I like seeing that.
And then it was awesome. He just playing his air solos.
Yeah, he was a really good time.
He has great stage presence.
Yeah, he was
like
a lot of
that
fun.
guy.
I'm excited to see him again.
Fun.
We're gonna go buy our tickets soon for that show.
Yeah, we had the
Yeah,
for that.
I'll go.
Yeah, they're only
What if I'm here? When is it?
April 5th.
Shout out April 5th.
Yo, Music Box.
Thursday.
We'll be
Music
there.
Box.
We'll be there, yes.
Omega Squad.
Yeah.
Stand Warriors.
Stand Warriors.
Omega Man and Stand Warrior.
Yeah, it's April 5th, Thursday.
Is it just them two?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or,
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Music Box is a new club around here too.
I love that
Bringing
place.
Everything. I love
It's
it
a great
too.
venue.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have
It's a great
autographs the
venue.
next day after Omega Squad.
Oh.
If you know who they are, they're fun.
Yeah, I know that one.
Autograph. Yeah, we do. Sick. They're pretty good.
Aren't they rappers with masks?
Definitely.
Something like that, yeah.
Totally, right? Okay, wait a minute. So we were at Cake.
Yeah.
And then what club was after that?
I don't know what went in after. I actually don't even know if that place, like where Warrior was, is anything right now.
Yeah, because I shut down.
It was like heartbreaking to me when Warrior stopped. So
I left.
So
I
then
went to
Spin
Orange
and
County.
basically Spin and Bang Bang.
Bang Bang.
Yeah.
Kind of were your
I work at Bang Bang a couple
grounds.
times now. I work tomorrow.
Oh, you do?
At Bang Bang, yeah.
You told me that. Yeah, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
we got a show there tomorrow.
You were partying because I went to Orange County I went back to school up in Orange County for a couple years. And then
Yeah,
she
I was
down
at
there,
Bang Bang like
still at
opening
Bang
night.
Bang, yeah.
One of my friends works for Bang Bang too. That's the other club that I go to if I'm not at.
I like Bang Bang.
It's fun.
It's a good time.
It's huge disco.
I don't think we've ever mentioned that place on here before.
It's a really good time. Sushi
if you're looking for good spots, Bang Bang's fun.
Yeah, good music, great people.
It's a little strange at first to be like, wait, there's sushi?
Yeah, you got both sides. That's
what is arguably a dirty nightclub on the other side.
Right,
I mean, it's pretty dirty.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not dirty like health-wise, but it's definitely dark.
Yeah, oh,
right?
yeah,
like,
definitely. Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah, they have great music that comes in there.
It's kind of like what you want, you know? There's not like laser beams everywhere.
Right, yeah. It's one disco ball.
It's not like a rave in there.
Yeah,
it's like a disco ball and some chill lights.
People don't bring their glove lights. People don't bring their toys or anything. It's just people dancing. And it's not like a stuck-up, like
it's pretty
high
loose.
crowd.
It's pretty loose.
Yeah, and it's not as Burning Man as Spin. It's like a good middle ground.
Funny how Spin is like, that's like the Burning Man
totally
club.
Well, that's
where they do the.
That's what I was wondering. I was thinking, how long has Ego Trip and Bass Tribe been throwing those parties at Spin? Because I don't even know if they were throwing them when I left for Orange County.
I think so. Well,
Yellow.
There you go.
That's got to be the lowest point.
Spin does like every kind of music. Like they have like Latin nights.
I was gonna say, I think they have a lot of nights that aren't burners. It's just the electronic music stuff is pretty heavy burners.
They have a lot of fundraising that goes through there. That's for Burning Man. Like all the Ego Trip shows and stuff like that.
I think that's the one. I mean, because I was thinking about the Bay Area, like Public Works Station, they throw a lot of like burner fundraising. I think Spin's the only spot in San Diego where you're gonna find like.
It's also the only place that stays open till 4.
Yeah.
So.
Right, which I thought was gonna change. I thought everywhere was gonna be open till 4.
Oh really?
Well, that's what there was like a.
I didn't hear about that.
Oh, I thought there was a newer law that was going to pass, but I don't know. Maybe I'm lying.
I mean, I wouldn't. It's kind of cool because even though it's the only club that stays open till 4, like they don't. Like it doesn't. I feel like it never gets like super packed at Spin, even though it's the
packed,
only
but the people
club.
are nice there, so it doesn't feel like, oh my god, like sardines are in there,
Yeah.
But,
that.
yeah.
Ross, have you ever been to
this game?
Kelly, have you ever been to? You've been here before. Yes. We went to Burning Man, right?
Yes.
And then, but we didn't go to we didn't go out at all, right? You just came here, and I think we drove the next day, right?
We did not go out, correct. I've been to San Diego before. I actually have a poster. I'm going to date myself here just a little bit. Let me see if I can do it. This is on the wall. This is. All right, you ready? Hold on.
What do you got?
Hold on. This is Bizarre Manor.
What the hell is that? From like the 50s?
Yeah, pretty much. It was at the Jungle, which is Sports Arena Boulevard.
Was that
okay? I mean, I know where Sports Arena Boulevard is.
Do you think that was
the Jungle?
this says Friday, June 11th, 1999.
Yeah, you still have that poster. How is that thing?
It's a really cool poster. It was super.
Today's guest was 9.
I was 9 years old.
Shut up. Super DJ Micro.
Wow.
Super DJ.
Yeah, he was super DJ. That's when everybody just.
Shortly after Kyoki. Well, that was shortly after Kyoki retired as Super DJ Kyoki. So someone else had
he had
the flag.
The title was up. So yeah. I've been to
see both from New York.
So this was before then. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hey Kelly, as long as we've brought up super DJs, DJ names, all these things, and we stumbled across Super DJ Kyoki. Why don't you tell us about your most recent experience with Super DJ Kyoki? It's a great story. We'll play the game a little bit while you tell us that one. It's a good one. Kelly headlined with Kyoki.
I did. I went to Rochester and I played with Kyoki, which was like, I feel like right now I'm in that groove of where I'm playing with all the people that were the legends when I was young, you know? So Kyoki was definitely one of them. I just played with Soul Slinger this last weekend. So it was kind of one of those like, you know? But yeah, I mean, what was the story about Kyoki? I don't remember.
Well, maybe it's mixed up in another story, but I thought.
Oh my God,
that was
I saw that.
I thought he had I thought either he was late or didn't play, or did he play?
Well, I don't really want to talk too much shit about somebody, but
it's like years ago.
No, this is like 2 years ago. And
shit talking. It's just what happened.
He's grown up since then.
He was. Okay, that's a great.
There's no drugs left.
That's a great point. Okay, so if you don't know who Kyoki is, he's a little bit famous. If you've ever seen Party Monster, and back in the day in New York, there was a little bit of a debacle where Kyoki's friends killed somebody, and he was the drug dealer at the time. So fast forward 20 years later, he actually, this was like 3 years ago, he was at a friend's house and the friend died, and they found laundry baskets full of, speaking of the crystal method, that kind of stuff, and a whole bunch of cash. So yeah, so this was like his second time. He got arrested and nothing came of it. No charges were brought. So, whatever. Wrong place, wrong time, sexual.
Sure.
And then I played.
Had that happen.
Yeah, right.
And then I played a show with him like not too long after that. And like I said, that was one of my idols. But he was in his bad spot at the time. He's sober now, and in recovery, and probably a really good thing. Go Kyoki.
I've never even heard of him.
That's good.
Yeah.
I have a poster I'd like to share.
West Coast Weekend.
West Coast Weekend. I shared it last time, probably.
Yeah.
Coming up, as you can see, folks, May 3rd through 6th.
Oh,
For
look,
people that can't bear to watch this, I'm describing it.
Bumpy Nuggets.
How would you describe West Coast Week? Let's see how they describe West Coast Weekender. They don't really, do they? Or do they? Wait, it says.
I haven't
I've
been.
been. It says a celebration of music, dance, and culture in Southern California.
Well, there's so much culture here.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So cool.
Okay, Nuggets, baby.
It's a cool little festival. I mean, for the World Beat Center, I like that. I like that venue.
The World Beat Center is
mean,
actually really cool.
Venue.
I'm going to tell everybody, if you're looking to come to San Diego, this is the highlight snip for West Coast Weekend. So if you're looking to come to San Diego, trying to make an excuse, you want to do some music stuff, I will tell you this. A great time of year, usually for weather, is when this is.
Mm-hmm.
It's a long weekend, I think, and it is, I wouldn't say it's a large variety of electronic dance music, being the whole thing, but it is great, definitely great house music, for sure. Like all 3-4 days, lots of great house music. There is also some drum and bass.
Mm-hmm.
There's not much in between.
Right.
Just being clear with people. And, they're all great people that throw this. So I'm sure that as time goes on, it's their third year, I think, right?
Yeah, it's the third year.
So I'm sure as time goes on, you'll see that expand. They're veterans of several conferences, New York, Miami, Winter Music Festival, things in Detroit. Oscar, like they're veterans of all those things, so they know what's up.
You're right.
They also love house music.
Well, isn't this the last kind of?
That's what
Cameron
was
saying, that this is the only festival / conference you're ever gonna get. Like there's no other thing like this anymore.
So the EDM Biz one, which was sort of in a little bit more, let's say, variety of, let's say, the more popular genres or more radio play genres. That's no longer.
With the conferences.
That EDM Biz was the week before EDC, also promoted by Insomniac, and I heard that stopped. I went to it twice, so it was very similar. That was a straight up conference with parties.
Yeah,
it was big. It was 1,000 people. That's a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, like 1,000 at the conference, the panels.
Oh, wow.
Listening to the panels. Yeah. Way bigger than the West Coast Weekender panels. But that's all I'm saying in what you're talking about. But I think the one in Detroit what's the one in Detroit? You know, Kelly? Big techno festival.
Movement.
Oh, the one that's in like May.
I'm pretty sure they have panels and sessions.
Oh, really?
That's where that kid Andrew was last year instead of LIV.
Yeah, my favorite.
It's big.
Yeah, I can't remember.
She's in for her birthday.
Detroit, massive techno festival.
Movement.
Movement. That's it.
Yeah. I'm almost positive it does have some, but you're kind of right.
Yeah.
And certainly in California, I think it's the only one that's.
Yeah, and they have the panel at Lafayette. Is that where that's at? Yeah,
so this year they're moving to Lafayette, which is a historic hotel here. So my point is, for anybody that wants to come here and do, you're going to come maybe anyway because San Diego is pretty awesome, the weather, all the reasons people come, right? Yeah. Like for vacation, but you want to try to time it around, a time when there might be a lot of music things that are all good over a period of 3 or 4 or 5 days while you're here. Yeah. It's a great weekend to do that because it's the only weekend that I can think of here during the year where you have that much consistent,
Oh, definitely.
That's for sure, yeah.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Yeah.
You can go to the hotel. It's somewhat cohesive. There's a lot of people that know each other or there for the same event, so they're friendly. Yep. The hotel sells out. It's a nice, warm, fuzzy vibe. Yeah, I guess is
the only other
my
thing
point.
San Diego has is
Crossed.
Crossed, which is
that's
right.
Yeah,
and it's just.
But aside from the festival, that's pretty scattered.
Yeah, there's nothing else other than.
You got different tickets for Bang Bang, different tickets for this, different tickets for that, day, night. But it's all kind of like they do some cross promotion, but it's not centrally managed. It doesn't seem.
Yeah.
And there's no like hotel pool party.
Yeah, no, this would be San Diego
thing like that.
Yeah, and we'll all be there. So come.
Yeah, so the only reason I pointed out the house and drum and bass thing was because a lot of folks go to things and are looking for maybe an even wider variety, or techno or something, and not to dig into subgenres, but it's definitely house and drum and bass. Yeah, is my point. For sure. So, but some of the awesome, Oscar of course is playing there. Oscar P, Hector Romero, Doc Martin. I'm reading a lot of the house people. Who else? I think some are maybe unannounced. Like last year, Mark Farina played. I don't see him on here this year, but he played last year.
That's where I saw Gene Ferris 2 years ago. That's why I found out about Gene Ferris.
Right. Yeah. Somebody from Soul Clap. They support a lot of local house, like the house DJs. A lot of them, and the drum and bass guys. King Britt playing. Did y'all know? Y'all ever heard King Britt play?
No.
House?
No.
I haven't heard in a long time, but super soulful house.
Oh. Yeah.
He was, I'll get it wrong, I'm sure, but he was the DJ like when like hip hop / soul / groove, acts, like live acts.
Yeah.
When it first took off, which is before y'all's like clubbing time, when it first took off to where they would have a DJ as part of the group.
Yeah.
Like where it was a big thing to do that. And that DJ was like really notable as part of the band.
Yeah.
King Britt was part of Kelly, we might need a fact check. Okay. What was the band he was part of? Was it Diggable Planets?
No.
It's someone big.
Okay.
It's probably wrong, but King Britt, whatever, he was a DJ from some band.
I've seen King Britt.
It wasn't Diggable Planets, but it was pretty big.
Yeah. It wasn't King Britt from DC too.
He was from Philly, I think, because he and Josh Wink were like everywhere. You would see them everywhere in the early days playing together. Pretty sure he's from Philly. So he was part of some pretty big on the groovier side of hip hop. And I think he's a DJ for him, maybe producer as well.
It's that Silk 130, Floston Paradigm, and Scuba.
Yeah, those are all after. Those are all after the other one that I'm talking about. Yeah. You're like on his Wikipedia or something.
Yeah.
I am.
That's what we do now. We just go straight to Wikipedia. You know, Cole's playing. Cole of Juice Recordings fame.
Yes.
Cole Vassallo. Evlo's playing. Looks like on the drum and bass stage, so he's rocking.
He toured with Diggable Planets in Sade.
No, but that I was right. It's Diggable Planets, and so he toured with them, and that was like at the time where it was a big deal to have a DJ be part of your stage act.
Yeah.
Right? Like nowadays, it just everyone has it. You know, even some rock bands or whatever have it. You know, like it's all gotten weird. But there was a time where it was like a DJ was a DJ, and almost only hip hop was all there was.
Yeah.
And then these groups started coming out that weren't just what they called track acts. So everything was pre-recorded, and they basically went on stage and just, at the most, they might have rapped over all the music being pre-recorded. So there was no band.
Yeah.
And so Diggable Planets and like that wave was like, that was when like, you know, the Roots, these people, they started playing the actual hip hop. But they retained a DJ, I guess, because that was part of hip hop culture.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. You know, like DJing, B-boying, all that, right?
Yeah.
And it was cool. It was fun. But anyway, that's right. He toured with them maybe 1 year, more.
Nice. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It'll be fun.
He's
I'm excited to Lafayette. That's gonna be
right by our house.
Close to our house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ready to go.
Yeah, it'll be a good time. I like the World Beat Center room there too, and like for people that if they're coming from out of town, like Balboa is gorgeous too. So and that's right where you're gonna be.
Yeah, and tickets are like, it's pretty awesome. I mean, it's like it doesn't say on here. Do y'all know what tickets are?
I have no idea. WestCoastWeekender.com though should be the.
Yeah, WestCoastWeekender.com.
Yeah.
I don't think they're more than. I
have no idea how much there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking it's around like for the full weekend pass thing. I'm thinking it's like less than $100.
And that gets you into all shows,
everything.
And
the pool, the panels, whole 9 yards. So it's a deal.
That's a great deal.
Yeah.
What a deal.
Yeah, I think that's the range, you know. But don't be blowing up West Coast Weekend or West Coast.
You got the Westman discount.
I'm on your website. It's $110. Website it was $100 or less.
I got some juice coupons.
What? Don't be showing up with your one beer left on your 6-pack. Like, oh, could I trade this for the other $5? Wes said he knows Oscar, and I know Wes.
Did someone win at pickup sticks? Are you guys still going? What's going on?
We're on the home stretch. I feel like.
Did anyone get Burning Man tickets today?
Out and left.
Burning Man. I have not been to Burning Man.
No.
Neither of us have been actually.
I got Burning Man tickets. Slam dunk.
Good job.
You gonna be out there, Kelly?
I'm planning on this year off.
This year off?
He's like,
once a burner. Well, you notice what she said. Like, I'm planning on this.
Yeah, but I've stuck to that.
Once you've been to Burning, and don't say we didn't warn you, kind people.
Yeah.
You'll hear this later. Once you've been to Burning Man, you really only can say, yeah, basically, I'm planning not to go.
I'm planning not to go. I was planning to go, and then I was not planning to go. I'm going to Croatia, and I'm definitely doing that. I've got money down on that.
What is that again? What's the name of that thing? Big drum and bass thing, right?
It's Hospitality on the Beach, Hospital Records.
Oh, nice.
Hospitality.
5 days of drum and bass for your
drum and bass. Kelly, I feel like you know.
Oh no.
We have not discussed this ever, but I feel like, you know, there's Agent 137. There's Double Agent 137.
Yeah.
And I feel like perhaps Double Agent 137 is kind of running away with the baton.
Yeah, I was wondering about that because I saw your SoundCloud. You're like, I play Breakbeats, Agent 137. I was like, word, I'm all about the breaks. Then I got recruited for Double Agent status, drum and bass, and I was like, oh, okay. I feel like I still have drum and bass on your SoundCloud.
Have you done? I mean, is it? We won't call it a bait and switch, but have you done a? Have you in your mind? Have you done a transition?
I think so.
we know you're studying music. You've been doing this for a while, like, to produce it with your schooling.
Yeah,
Are you leaning more towards the drum and bass production or what?
Well, I'm glad you asked. I lean towards drum and bass, yes, because I've played breaks and house here. Actually, the last variety show that we did was you remember when I had to leave for a show?
Yeah.
I was like getting dressed and out the door, and I was like, I gotta go. I played breaks at that show. But I do feel that in places like Burning Man and Breakfast of Champions, or like that, drum and bass can be such a funky flavor, and I'm pretty much the only one playing that at shows like that. Like Burning Man, there's not a lot of drum and bass. It's just not, not a thing.
Not a BOC.
Yeah, so it's kind of like I like the differentiation, but like here it's concrete jungle, and like everything's drum and bass here too, so it's good to practice that. But I mean, house I think is really oversaturated as far as the genre is concerned, and I don't feel that I'm gonna bring anything that special to it in comparison to people that are doing it really greatly. So breaks I can play all day long, but it's not a thing here. It's not like
it's actually not a thing anywhere.
Well,
well, I mean, I'd say that with all due respect.
Yeah, you're right.
Everybody knows I have an affinity for breakbeat, but it's
I know. So I mean, well, it is a thing. It's just not a thing where.
I speak the truth. I'm not dissing it. I'm speaking the truth.
Yeah, no, I understand. It is something that is coming back, though. I think that it's just not. We've talked about this so many times, but it's just not called breaks. People call it house, and it just played in a different way with different people. But you get like so specific, and promoters want to book you for a specific thing. And I love drum and bass. I mean, I'm going to a festival for it for 5 freaking days, of course.
Well, drum and bass. So I mean, drum and bass is like, and we've hit it a few times on here, but it's like, I think 2 things have happened. One is it's so distinctly different than everything else that you can't, as a promoter, like accidentally hire someone.
What it's drum and bass.
You either know you want drum and bass or you don't, and you're going to have a stage for that. You're not likely going to mix it in unless maybe it's like a Bonnaroo type thing or some big festival where act to act is drastically different. Even then, a good music programmer is probably not going to go from Mark Farina to drum and bass.
Right, like Utopia had that one drum and bass stage. Every walk by, I was like,
And the second thing I think has happened for drum and bass is having been in and out of it myself for a long time as a fan, not really DJ or producer, just a little dabbling there, but definitely nothing serious. I think the other thing that's happened for it is it's cleaned up its image a lot. It used to be very standoffish to a lot of people, like it was like we own this thing.
Well,
it definitely had that vibe, and it's not the only genre that's had that vibe.
Totally. Listen,
but it definitely has had that vibe, and not just in one spot or another. I mean, it's had that if you would go to participate like in user forums, music groups and stuff. Not nice.
Really?
And I think that's been cleaned up a ton.
Trust me, it's still there.
There's some of that in everything, right? I mean, if you go on Twitter, you're going to get trolled for whatever you say, positive or not, and the landscape has changed. But I do think like the few drum and bass parties I've been out to, San Francisco, San Diego, let's see, one back in New York, really just like those 3 areas, but they're very different areas, and the crowd has been, it's not about what they look like or anything like that. It's just friendly. Like you go and it's like the music is nice and there's friendly people and I had a good night. Like that's a different vibe. And I think that's part of why it's had some resurgence. It's not so hardcore.
I can definitely agree with that.
How to let the music for its difference. You don't really need, in my opinion, you don't really need like
extra noise going on.
Everyone being hardcore, like trying to develop what the music is trying to be.
Right.
That's just fine.
Yeah.
I think with drum and bass too is that what you're saying about hardcore, like what I play is not like, I don't feel like I want to be like you were talking about headbanging and all that before, like thrashing. Like I don't play music like that. I don't want it. Like I'm not saying that I don't like it every once in a while when I go out and hear somebody play it, but I don't want to have like that feeling. So it's more of a soulful groove, not even liquid or anything like that, but just like some funky, really funky stuff. But what I want to do as far as production is concerned is I do want to take the Agent 137 and the double Agent 137. I want to do a like 130 track and then also have the answer of the drum and bass track to it too. So 2 on an EP, 1
side B.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that'd be sick.
Oh, look at you go.
Nice.
I would love that.
Look at that.
Golf clap, is
very
that
nice.
plural or is that singular? That group?
You're right.
If you just go, then I guess it's singular.
But nobody's ever just
No.
No.
Who is it you mentioned earlier? Claptone?
Claptone.
Yes.
I think that's like 3 people, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean it could be 3. I know them. I think Mala might wear a mask too, because Mala's like 3 people as well.
Yeah.
So they've just got. Both those guys have like 3 shows going on the same night.
Yeah.
It's just different DJs that you heard.
Yeah, we
Nice.
just capitalize.
Yeah, it's my turn.
It is.
We have a full moon.
Yeah,
right
nice. Well, I just noticed that, Kelly, so I thought I would,
now.
call it out here on the Variety Show. At least first time on the Variety Show, called out. It might be all over the interwebs, and I just wasn't paying attention. But I think that's cool. Yeah.
So,
I had, like when I did a couple, when I did, well, I've had a number of people when I send out some promos to them, like personally, rather than just a list, and they might actually listen, because I do realize that almost everything that gets sent out doesn't actually get listened to. But in terms of DJs and producers, like occasionally I'll know they didn't listen to the last 2 or 3 things I sent them, because when they do respond, they'll be like, "Oh, dude, you making a house now?" And I'll just be like, well, the last 4 I sent you were very similar, but it's cool. If this is the first one you listen to, I get it. Everyone's busy. I get it.
Did you put up that second half of the
Is it Fat Larry?
Fat Larry's band?
Fat Larry's
no,
band?
remember when you sent me the mix, and you were talking about, and you said who was going to be on it, and I was like, oh, Gene Ferris, and you were like, yeah, that's for part 2.
No, it's going to come out tomorrow. The mix,
Yay.
the DJ mix, the mix. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll make sure I hit you up with it.
Yeah. Don't tempt her with Gene Ferris.
I was like, how dare he say that there's Gene Ferris and there's no Gene Ferris?
Yeah, well,
Jesus.
it was on the second half, but I was
You
just
did
reading
it
the tracks
purposely.
in no
She was
order on
upset.
everything.
She was like,
He
"Let's
came
tell
home, I
me
was like,
there was Gene
look
Ferris
at
on
what Wes did to me today.
Yeah, so that was Juice Radio episode 1.
That was a good mix.
My goal
I
was
liked it
just
a
to
lot.
do 1 a month for the
That's
whole
fine.
year, meaning 12 total for those that, like
Thank
me,
God
can't always
for
count.
that.
And, I'll do
Oh,
that.
yeah.
So the first 2 were like a rewind of tracks that I enjoyed from last year that wasn't necessarily produced by me, or even in the realm of something I might have produced.
Yeah, and that Fat Larry's was fun too. I've been listening to that a lot.
Yeah, the disco
It's
jam.
I like that.
super fun.
Yeah, you can get all that stuff. Yo Big or yohome.com. It's right on the front page.
What do you know about Mustache
Download
Bash?
free. What's up?
Yeah.
About who?
Mustache Bash.
I have no idea if that's a
70s
Some
disco
food
party at
No.
the
A band.
Boulevard
On the Broadway
on the
Pier.
Broadway Pier.
Oh, it's a party.
Here.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's been going on for like 10 years.
When is
Floozies
that?
are
You know what
like,
the Floozies are?
ooh,
you know,
super
Floozies
fun.
funky bass
Oh, they're
music.
so much fun. 2
Yeah.
guys. It's one guy in the bass, and he also has like a synth kind of
I think
thing, and
they're
then
brothers.
and
You
there's
know-
a drummer.
Yeah.
So there's on that note, I'll mention because
So fun.
Come out for that.
yeah, it's yeah, come out for that.
Yeah.
It's March 24th.
Yes.
Good time. Yeah.
It's funny. Like I'm going to so like what one of the things I was going to say about I think I mentioned the word glitch hop, which what I was about to say was like back when. So anyway, setting some of these promos out, people would respond and be like this or that. If it was not strictly breakbeat, they would be like make a comment, right? And so I was like, well, actually, like what changed that for me was when I did that video game soundtrack, which is what that image is from.
Oh, really?
Behind us. Yeah, so that's the artwork from the cover of the CD that was the mix of all the songs.
Who's that guy?
That's Barry Ashworth from the Dub Pistols.
Oh, okay.
Because I remixed that song right there that art's from. Okay. It was a remix I did for them. So Barry and I connected, through social media. Mm-hmm. Hey, for any young producers and stuff out there, or any producers of any age, whatever, I gotta tell you, like, it's the most bizarre thing, but if you, I always tell people, like, just focus on making stuff. Like, ignore all the rest of the shit. Hmm. And as hard as I try, like, I definitely participate in a lot of social media. There's no question about it. Yeah. But I've kind of rolled into that by nature of, like, being somewhere in between, getting started and whatever the rest of the game is, mm-hmm. And so you get in this spot where it's like, well, wait, I got to post something. And then you start to realize, like, a lot of it, like, it doesn't matter that it's not necessarily about a music release, mm-hmm. but, like, when it's super early and you're just kind of getting your feet, like, everything's about 100% posting shit about music or your music or whatever. Yeah. And then, like, as time goes on, like, you kind of realize, like, it's just a balance. Like, there's people that want to see photos of your studio or whatever, like, things like that. So, so stuff like that happens. But my point about young producers and reaching out to, or just doing your thing, is because people ask me sometimes, like, how that came about, like you asked, and then, like, people know Dub Pistols and they don't really associate me with that, or Crystal Methods. I did those remixes too. Yeah. And both of those, like, little known story, actually all three.
And the Punks too?
Yeah, so the release that I did on Punks and the release for Dub Pistols and for Crystal Method, maybe little known fact, all three of those, and I'm only saying this because I think you should focus on making what you want to make, like the creating part, and not worry about that other stuff, because all three of those, they hit me up, nice. to just meet me. Yeah. And it wasn't about remix or anything. So they just connected, like, music people. Obviously, they're all who they are. Yeah. Or I met them on the road somewhere, and then I took the initiative to have a conversation, to do a remix or whatever. Yeah. And then they were open to it. Yeah. So I think it it's not like there's a lot of people that, like, make a point out of being like, oh, yo, dude, I didn't solicit that. Like, they chased me. It's not like that at all. Like, they just can. Well, there are people that care about that. Like, they want to make a point that they got invited to the festival to play, or they got, or they chased me. I don't know what value that has, but I'm just being clear, because certainly Dub Pistols and the Crystal Method are, like, so big in their particular countries and even worldwide in some cases. Like, I would definitely never say that, or like that kind of thing. But anyway, that's how that came about. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. That's really cool. It was just through, like, totally random. Like, it was definitely not like I'm gonna go after 100 projects. Yeah, and those two came out of it. One, right. In fact, this may also be a little known fact. I've never sent out a demo ever of anything. Oh, really? No music. Wow. Production ever, not one. Like, I've never sent a demo to any label. And that may or may not be a great thing, mm-hmm. So I'm not saying, like, it's the only way to do it. Yeah. But I know people ask sometimes, like, because it's like how yeah. I mean, I'm kind of one of those people that believes, like I don't know that if you like, for people who have a PR company and do all that, I have no problem with it. Yeah. And almost always, the people that are headlining EDC have all that. Have that, yeah. And they might have always had all that, and that's cool. And then you'll see people that never had any of that, which are on another EDC stage. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's just one of those things where it's like, I almost think, like, if the PR company and that whole, having a team of 10 people, I think in the same way that, like, I was explaining that those guys kind of connected with me organically, mm-hmm. I think if your PR team and all that management and shit finds you organically, run with it. Yeah, definitely. Right. But going out there trying to spend your time that should be creating on that, exactly. That's all I'm trying to say, right? It's not that, and so I've never had that happen. Yeah. Like, no management team has ever seen me at a show and been like, oh, let's talk. Yeah. Ever. Yeah. So just to be clear, like, not once in my whole entire world of music has any agent or manager ever asked me anything ever. Yeah. And so I've always just been like, well, I would have to make a choice to go you know, and that could be a million reasons. It could be because maybe they are listening and don't like what I do.
Yeah.
Right. But whatever the reasons are, like to me, it's like, well, why would I go spend a ton of my energy chasing that?
Right. Yeah.
But I think in the case of someone like the story I understand, for example, like Jaws, right?
Mm-hmm.
He did an expose thing in like won a DJ slot kind of thing at something like with it was like one of the huge incumbent, you know, Jason Bentley or one of those dudes from LA that kind of runs a lot of things, was doing like a DJ showcase thing deal. And he was at one of the production schools there. And I think he did that showcase and some people saw him and heard him and liked the sound and boom.
Which is great.
And that's fantastic.
Cool. Yeah, definitely.
Right? But I don't think he put like 5 years of energy into hunting down a manager.
Right.
Is my point.
I've always liked the more organic meeting versus, I don't know, like we were actually just talking about this in a different topic with our roommate, but the I really like the just genuine meeting somebody and having that good, you know, conversation and good vibe with those people instead of I don't know.
And the fact that they're just doing what they want to do, like
totally.
At the end of the day, like I mean, that's what I appreciate the most out of anything. Like you do what you want to do. People are gonna like it. People out there are gonna like it. If it's good, I like my breaks music.
Quote from Matt Dennis. It was Colin calling. I just turned him on speaker.
Colin?
He dropped off. I turned him on.
Wow,
he was listening for about 10 seconds, and he's like,
Colin, get it Colin.
He's like, I'm out.
Are you not watching this live right now? Come on, bro.
Hey, it's almost your birthday.
Whose birthday?
Whose birthday?
It's almost your birthday.
Oh, mine.
When's your birthday?
March 10th.
Oh, I was like, we're not that right now. We're not.
That was exciting. Hey,
oh
Colin.
my God, where are you going for your birthday? What are you doing?
Now he's not answering. You knew I was calling back.
Tell me you missed the meeting. Sorry.
That was Cole Vasallo. Famous Cole Vasallo playing West Coast Weekender.
Are we going there tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not playing tonight, but two people from United by Bass.
Yeah, what are you
Yeah, we're gonna go to Switching Lanes.
Yeah.
PBI.
Oh, man.
I mean, it's no rush. That's why we're hanging out here still talking.
You don't gotta
tempt me.
Yeah.
With
Take this shirt off. Look at this awesome birthday.
Don't mind me, just sitting here rocking on the boat.
Rock on the boat, Ross. But that was what do you think, Kelly? I mean, organic the way to go.
Food, music. Yes.
Yeah.
Are you listening to the conversation?
The business of music is what we're saying. You know.
I think
you're the only one that's in school for things somewhat related right now. So I'm asking you what the current, you know, your thoughts on the current.
I think what you're saying was spot on about all of that, but I also do think at some point when you don't have to ask people for things and people start coming to you, that's really the turning point, and that's kind of really cool. I
totally agree.
Yeah,
and that's the organic thing. But but like the example I was giving, and I don't know Jaws personally, but I do like some of his music. So just saying, like the example I was giving with him is that, you know, he's 20, maybe 23 or 4 now, headlining every EDC thing everywhere, everything, right? And that's awesome. I mean, and in some cases, headlining his own shows with 10,000 people, whatever, which is great, right? And so I just think, but I think that happened pretty organic. He seems to be like, if you look at his tweets and like just his, you know, he shares, you know, a little bit of life and stuff outside of music, seems to be a pretty genuine dude.
Yeah.
Which to me usually seems to be like someone that's pretty well grounded.
That's the thing too. Yeah,
which
they don't have their head
usually like they haven't been like, you know, doing some weird shit to try to game the system or whatever.
Right. Yeah. You're not paying for followers and shit like that,
all these things, right?
Yeah, and I think knowing the person as they are, you know, is so much nicer than
like just letting your work speak for itself. I mean, that's the main key to me. I feel like in this industry, like if you can kind of like you said, follow a person like Jaws and like from a distance, like realize what's going on with him through his musical career.
Yeah, I mean, you can only tell so much.
Yeah,
but, you know,
obviously, but like I mean,
I follow like, you know, Twitter and whatever with his stuff and maybe 5 or 10 other major you know, acts that I would consider at that level, you know, and like some of them are kind of assholes.
Exactly. Well,
and I'm just like, it's not going to make me not like their music, but I can guarantee I'll unfollow that shit.
Yeah.
It's just like,
exactly.
that's annoying, man.
Yeah.
You know, like,
really
I'm trying to be a fan. I don't want to.
That's not what the scene.
You know?
That's not what the music scene's about. Like,
Yeah.
in my opinion, from what I've learned in my years of going to all these shows and meeting some cool artists, like that's not. I've definitely gravitated towards the people that don't have that kind of attitude about the music. You know, like it.
And I was gonna say, I care about who you are as a person versus what your music. You know, obviously I love the music, but if I know that you're a douchebag, like I'm probably gonna stop. Maybe not stop listening to you, but not be promoting your music like I would be, or listening to it as much. You know,
producers, DJs are hearing it from a fan.
Yeah, what's the timestamp on this? Can we get the timestamp? Because I'm gonna
I'm gonna
clip it. I'm gonna clip it because people need to listen. They need to listen.
You don't want to.
No, I'm straight. Yeah.
You support it. Yeah,
I just really like to
you're
dance.
a fan.
I really like listening.
Music
to
fan.
Yeah, I've been for my whole life. Yeah, my dad grew me up on. You know, I've been going to concerts and stuff like that since before I could speak. You know, so that's always been me. But yeah, I would much rather value you as a person than. If your music is great, cool. But if you're not a good person at the same time, like, I could probably do without your music.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah. Because I've definitely always, you know, you know, dude, everybody's got days where they just want to go off on somebody.
And that's, of course.
But for me personally,
I'm seeing it all the time, though, that you're just.
Yeah. And for me personally, just the way I look at it is I take a second and think about it real quick. Like, you know, because I think like I think I've always thought along the lines of what you're saying, like as a true let's say music fan only versus music fan plus having some foot in the business.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by that. It's like, I've always thought about that and been like, you know, like nobody, because if I've been involved with either making music or DJing or promoting a show or being part of producing the show or whatever it is from the business side, and there'll be all these typical business scenarios, people get upset, there's personalities, all that behind the scenes, and then sometimes that creeps out. And I'll always tell people, dude, keep it. Like nobody wants to hear that shit.
Right, but you have to also.
No music fan wants to hear your shit. They're gonna pay their $10.
I want to hear your music.
That's to hear your music, man. It's not to hear about your baggage, bro.
Yeah, but I mean, everyone is human, so they're have that bad day, you know, whatever. But like, I think about people like Grizz, you know, like he seems like such a genuine, down to earth, super fun.
Even see him at Red Rocks.
Normal fucking dude that just loves life and wants to hang out with you.
Yes.
You know? And like even at Electric Forest, he just goes through the entire forest with a saxophone.
Oh really? That's awesome.
He plays
we're gonna find him this year.
He went last year and he played a set and then just goes through the forest with just his saxophone just gigging out for people.
We need an Agent 137 Grizz sax set. Sounds like
that would be unreal.
Come to Forest.
Hit him up. Hit him up, Agent.
That's
we're going this year.
That's our big thing. We're gonna go to.
We're gonna be in Michigan.
We have tickets for Electric Forest this year.
I mean, that's kind of close.
Yeah, it's closer to you than it is to us.
Yeah,
that's right.
Michigan.
Rockbury, Michigan.
That's the name of the festival.
Yes, what is it? Big Spectre plays every year.
Yeah. They had a pretty good lineup this year.
Yeah, they do. They just started 2 weekends, like 2 years ago, I think. So we're gonna go second weekend.
I think that means she loses, right?
No, I win. I got the black one.
Check the rules.
Kelly,
she wins.
That's the last straw.
Kelly, what do you say?
It's the last straw.
That is the last straw. You win.
I didn't get the short straw.
You didn't get the black one, but it was kind of cheating though. How
did I cheat? How dare you? I got the black one.
She got the black one, but read the rules after she picked up the black one. So I'm going to say you had to do it again.
Yeah, but...
Okay. Kelly Ross, let's see.
Gosh dang it.
An hour and 28 minutes, almost an hour and 37 minutes into the show.
Yep.
Yeah. See? Agent 137? No.
Oh.
Well, I don't know. Did you have a needle drop planned for today?
Oh my God! No, you did not just do that.
Drop that needle, girl. Drop
I want to hear it.
That's usually what we do when people go to the bathroom.
So Wes is can I say maybe a little ADD? Maybe is that okay to say?
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't go that far.
Look at this room.
So I've prepared a needle drop every week for the last 5 episodes.
43 episodes?
43 episodes, and he never asked me, and now I didn't do it, and he asked me. I do have one.
Done?
I've got one. I've got one. Hold on.
You came ready for the needle drop.
Okay, here
Oh,
it goes.
it was your big moment.
Here's the needle. Oh, wait, I got it.
He's gonna.
Ready?
Is that the needle drop face?
That's pretty nasty. I like it. Can you guess who it is? I'll give. Okay, so we'll do this.
It's a Hyundai commercial.
It's
What's up, Hyundai?
It's a plural DJ.
You could be an official sponsor.
It's a plural. It's a plural DJ, or it's a plural name. So I'm gonna give you clues. Okay, so it's 2 words and it's plural.
Are they plump?
Yes, they're plump. Good job. You already
Nice.
Ooh, that was fancy.
Look at you.
Ooh, that was fancy.
Oh, you guys are coordinating this whole thing. You had her say she didn't have a needle drop. You know what the needle drop was, and then she dropped it, and he says like plump DJs. What?
No,
is that it?
I think I heard the track.
Yeah, you may have it. Well, we got it.
But it also just sounds like them. They're good chaps.
What was the last one I heard from them was Focus. That was the last one that I heard.
Really too bad that they can't tour the States.
Why not?
I don't know the reason, but it never happens. And the few promoters I know that would love to have them have not been able to get it done for immigration reasons. I don't know the reason.
We were talking to Martin Porter when he came off that day out, and I was like, "What's your deal, man? Like, why aren't you out here? Like, I love your music." And he was like, I just don't tour the States. It's like I tour Canada and
let's get German wasted
Europe.
again.
Yeah, dude. Martin Porter was awesome. He was a good dude.
It was so fun. You called him Hans. I can't remember my German name.
Yeah, we forgot.
I was so drunk. I was like, I have to go home. I'm gonna barf everywhere.
That was
He's pretty much the most fun person I've ever met.
He's so fun. He's
a ray of sunshine.
Wasted. It's like, okay, I'm already wasted, but let's go.
We totally got German wasted.
I bet.
I can barely have any beers at Barrel Republic.
We started at, well, for anyone listening, I'll say we started roughly close to where we are now in terms of like a couple blocks from the beach, and then we were walking away from the beach. So in Pacific Beach in particular, in San Diego, there's a street called Garnett, and Garnett has like all the shit show, gong show bars, all that kind of. It's like the main street of Pacific Beach.
Yeah.
Not the main street of San Diego. That's Gaslamp, but that's the downtown. But for the beach, that's it. And so we were just cruising down, and the further out we got, all I remember is by the last bar, it was me, Martin, Kimby. You remember my friend Kimby? The dreads, blonde dreads.
Really don't.
Yeah, and then not sure I remember who the other person.
Well, because
was.
I was hammered.
Yeah,
but that's what happened. That's my point. As we went, like I remember ordering a pizza with Payam, and that got delivered.
No,
and
there
then
was a
they
pizza
fell
at
off.
Barrel Republic. We ate pizza at Barrel
Yeah,
Republic.
and then they
I
fell off.
Thin-sliced pizza.
Isn't that when Jake
so
brought out those nuts that he like D?
Oh yeah, Jake.
Yeah, and then
Jake.
Right,
Well,
Jake,
that's
the nut guy.
Yeah.
They text him. He has a dehydrator for me.
Yeah.
Great.
Yes.
And then we got Martin eating the brisket at Iron Pig.
Oh my God! Isn't
He was like, "I need a German meal." So I take him to the Iron Pig because it's like
some bratwurst.
It's the place that has nothing vegetarian on the menu. Even this place, even they have they make an effort with mac and cheese, but it's loaded with candied bacon.
Totally.
And then you'll be like, "Can I get the mac and cheese without the bacon?" No.
I know.
It's like it's like bacon noodles. It doesn't work like that. Yeah, it's just
you're better off getting the noodles or the bacon without the noodles.
And then they have and then the other veg thing on there is collard greens, and then that comes out and it's totally
bacon
marinated in bacon water.
Oh my Lord.
Isn't it amazing though that you guys can go out and get German wasted and that you can pull it together to all eat food? Like that's like the one thing that really drunk people, like they can pull it together to get food, to get the money out and do that, but they can't function otherwise.
Win.
If there's one thing you're gonna do,
I don't think Martin had to get any money out. I think we paid.
Martin.
Yeah,
I actually messaged him. I was like, "Come back to San Diego."
Yeah, we missed him when he went to the Bay Area. He was up there for Public Works.
Yeah,
we thought about it.
Just because it was so much fun. He was like, "Let's go."
Oh yeah, he was there. I think.
Yeah, he was there recently.
Yeah.
We don't get a lot of acts out here in San Diego. They all stop in LA.
Yeah, when
I go to like exchange.
Well, we get a lot, but I think it's like I think we get them. We don't get them across all the genres. We basically get them at Omnia or Basement.
Yeah, but see,
those are for sure the two heavy.
Not for breaks.
No,
we don't get breaks down here.
No,
but we saw Millennium at Omnia, and I don't really like Millennium. He did not play.
But I don't think y'all understand. As break fans, I don't think you realize the only place in America where you can do a show with breaks with more than 100 people is San Francisco.
Yeah. You said to us the first time we ever met you at your
the GTA.
You said, "Oh, look, where can we find breaks again?"
You were like, "Don't try."
And you were like, "Don't even."
Look, I would love it if there was an unknown fountain of breaks somewhere that I could share with everybody. I would. And so, back when I did, look at Kelly. Kelly's heard me talk about this a lot of times, and it's like, for one thing, I get interested in just making different things as you hear different things, right? And then different things introduce you to different things. And that was like the video game, like we couldn't have, so the way that worked is that they first did the release of the game with like all the default, racetracks and whatever. And then they had, that shit gets planned like 3 years ahead.
Oh, for sure.
So it's like, okay, so the game's going to get done in 2 years and then it's going to come out. And then, 5 months later, whatever, 5-6 months later, they're going to have, like a accelerator pack, which is more tracks, more shit for a couple bucks or whatever they do, and then they already know they're going to have like basically 3 of these, accelerator pack type releases. So you're almost talking about like a 4 to 5 year plan for a game. It's a big project. Yeah. And so musically, like they want to kind of know what's going to happen because they, their focus is really the game and the sounds of the game, not so much the backtracks. So that's why, when the way that got approached with me was, to do all the tracks and then they would add all the game effects and stuff. And so it was a pretty neat from a workflow perspective, but the thing is that I knew nothing about games other than playing them. And so like the biggest thing I learned out of that was they were like, love music, but they're like, we don't need, this is basically what happened was they were like, we can either go to different artists because we have these different needs. And it's all dance songs, but they needed like they wanted all songs, not talking about the effects and stuff. Cause that's what a lot of people think when I tell them video games, they think like, that I'm doing like crash sounds and shit.
Yeah.
I've never touched that stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Never, ever. Yeah. I'm not interested. It's not, it's a decent business for money, but I'm just not interested. So, so it was making the songs and then you make them a little shorter because they're like the race car loops are 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
But other than that, that's the only edit. They wouldn't have any creative control, or they did. The one I worked on, that one. And so, but then they were like, oh, but we have like categories, like there's the songs that get played while the cars are racing. And then there's songs that get played when you're changing the wheels and shit in the garage. Yeah. Then there's stuff that gets played while you're flipping through the menus. Then there's stuff that gets played while you're like shopping in the PlayStation, store to set up your account or whatever that settings and shit. So it's like, you can't, so they're just like, you just can't have the same energy for all that.
Yeah. So
that's what got me really into, that was what got my head around going, oh, all right, well, I would tell them, I would be like, do a little something to be like, well, this is kind of glitch hop.
Right.
Like, will that kind of tempo work for the menu thing? And they'd be like, oh, cool. This is like kind of a slowed down version of the breaks you do. Right. But it's glitch hop. Because like the game makers don't know. Like they don't really know.
Genre bit. Like,
and that's
electronic music.
So aside from like, cutting my own chops on different styles, like I knew the styles, but I hadn't made them. So aside from that, which was almost 5 different genres, like really like breaks, house, you know, house-based house, just that tempo.
Yeah.
Like things in those tempo ranges, right?
Yeah.
But aside from that is when I realized like all the people that worked on that game project, huge music fans.
Really?
Know almost nothing about genres. And that's when I realized to myself, it just doesn't, like, I've never cared that much about it other than when I go to Beatport to buy or something. Like, you probably do, right?
Yeah.
You go buy tracks.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But other than that, like, that was when I really truly realized not just the guys making the game, but when that game came out, like, it had, like, I think it, you know, before it started to just tail off, it had, like, I think it was close to 10 million downloads or something.
Wow.
You know? It's a lot.
Yeah.
And so that's the packs and everything over time, right? And so that means, like, I did the math and was like, that means that since every track in the whole game was mine,
yeah,
that means, like, that's all you heard the whole time you're playing the game.
Shazam you while they're
Absolutely.
on your game?
And they do.
What's going on?
And so this is what
you can see who Shazams you?
well,
No,
here's
we're
what's
talking
funny.
about
Well, here's what's
Sorry.
funny. This is crazy. So like so as far as like Shazam goes, you know, like Shazam has like follower counts, you know, like for artists and stuff. So here's a funny stat. Like my like Spotify, for example, which is where people would go to listen to music, right? Like intentionally to listen to a station or whatever.
I never go to Spotify.
Well, but a lot of people do.
Yeah.
My point is, you don't end up on Spotify if you're not going to listen to music.
Oh,
right?
yeah,
You're not playing a video game. Like,
Yeah. Okay.
that's changed a little because now it's embedded in some games, but Spotify actually is. But if you're going directly to Spotify, you're going there to listen to music. That's all you can do.
Okay, yeah.
So like my followers on Spotify are like, I don't know, 1,000, not a lot. You know, like this is the monthly, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
My followers on Shazam is like 15,000.
Wow.
And I know it's
Just
totally because
you
of the
could
game.
see-
Yeah, it was like 300 before that game. So I know
Really?
I'm almost positive what happens. Yeah, because it's not like my music's going to be getting played like tons in clubs, other
Right,
than
yeah.
me.
Yeah.
You know, because it's not mainstream electro or whatever, right? So it's not getting played at EDC.
Yeah.
Maybe it is, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
You know, but anyway, point is just like with talking about how all that works. Yeah, I just looked the other day. I was like 15,000 followers on Shazam. I don't even know you could have followers on Shazam. It has to be because of that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
That
No,
totally makes sense.
I can totally see that.
Well, because I went and looked at like other artists who I really look up to, like maybe
You can
like
see
Crafty
you can
Cuts or
see their
Scat Warriors
followers
or
on
Yeah.
whatever.
Too.
Yeah.
You can
And they're all
that.
less than mine, which I was like, that
Really?
makes no
Wow,
sense. I was like,
really?
that makes no sense at all. The only way that could happen is if you've got something where people are listening, don't know what it is, and are just like,
Trying to
oh,
figure it
Shazam.
out.
I would.
Figure it out
That's
what
funny
it
because
is,
I would never think during video games like I'm gonna Shazam this
Are
song
you
because
kidding me?
usually it's
Well,
pretty
but you're not a
quick.
gamer.
Yeah.
Right.
We do
yeah.
that fest,
I
we
only
do the
listen.
shows.
I
Yeah.
know.
Me and her will pop out
Totally
the phone and
trying
just be
to
like,
fucking
yeah,
Shazam
we
it.
were
It's
talking
so
about your.
embarrassing. It's
So-
horrible. I try not to do it, but I'm like, I want to know the song.
Hey.
So that was the other thing I
tunes.
realized through the game was that like, so that target market for that game was 12 to 15 years old. Yeah. Here's the funny thing, a little part of the story of the whole thing. When they first approached me, they had approached a number of people who declined it because they didn't like the demographic.
Age range.
And I was like,
Hell
I'm
yeah.
cool with it.
Yeah.
Whatever,
Having
man.
like curse words in your music.
Well, I
and
was like, I'll
that.
edit 'em
It's just
out.
Like, yeah, whatever.
I mean, I have
Yeah.
occasional shit or whatever,
Right.
but whatever. But I was like, I'll just edit it out,
Yeah.
you know? No big deal.
Yeah.
And they were like,
Maybe
I
smarter.
it was funny. They were like, well, yeah, the few others we talked to, like, they weren't willing to make any compromises. And I was like, making a clean version of a song? Dude, I'll do instrumentals from all if you want.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Wow.
Really?
The
That
video
was
game-
one of the bigger. That was
video game business is good money. So I was like, and I knew that, you know, like from learning from other people that had done a lot of that kind of work. But anyway, like, yeah, it was just like, so then all those kids, you know, that's like, I get hit up every now and then, and, you know, by people just be like, oh, that's how I met you or found you or whatever. And it's really bizarre because I keep thinking like there's going to be a point maybe where like, you know, let's say 10 years from now, there'll be all these kids that played that game when they were like 12 to 15,
Yeah.
couldn't go out, couldn't buy.
And now they're
gonna
listening to
enter in.
you.
Well, or 10 years is going to go by and they're going to be like, you know, oh, I remember that dude. He's old school. Like from the fucking game,
Right.
you know, like
That's
or something
funny.
weird like that, which
Yeah.
which would just be funny.
Yeah.
But it's also where I realized like the gamers don't really you know, it's not that all gamers don't know genres. I mean, maybe, but a lot of gamers are not music. They're games first,
like a lot of people,
right? They're games first.
Yeah,
not
a
music
lot of
first.
people in that like music, like even like our friends, like are not very like. I mean, I started when I came back from BOC last year, and I was like, breaks.
It's breaks.
Like this is what I just found out. Everyone's like, what? Like, what are you
People
talking
still
about?
don't believe us.
You know, like, and I'm like, I'll play some for you at the house. You know, like here you go. This is what breaks is, and like they're still like. They don't get it.
Well, this guy, y'all know this guy, Tommy Maverick, that promotes for Basement.
I do know that.
Yeah, I don't know him personally, but we've had some interaction on Facebook. So the other day, I thought it was really funny. He asked for, he posted a thing and was like, "Yo," he's like, "I'm crazy over breaks. Anybody know any breaks artists?" So a few people posted. Someone posted Mega Squad, and the funny thing is, like, I've sent him a number of promos. And I doubt he listens to him because it's just funny. So then I directed him. I was like, here, because the label's got Omega Squad and others on too. Yeah. And there's so many varieties of it. It's totally true. But I thought it was pretty interesting because I think he's pretty young, probably.
Yeah,
he's young.
Yeah.
Which I thought it was cool that like he posted a few things. He posted a few things, you know, like in that thread, and he knew a little bit. And I thought that's pretty cool, you know, like you know, like. That you know he's doing whatever he does at Basement. I think he DJs there. And
he
definitely promotes that. I know.
Yeah, he DJs for sure.
Yeah,
I thought he was more like dubby.
Yeah,
bass
I mean
music.
people that usually play at Basement are that.
Yeah.
But even like with the genres and stuff, like I only started really knowing what I was talking about, and I really don't still, but somewhat know because.
Do you know, Kelly?
No.
Well,
she's like, no.
There's so much new stuff coming out all the time too, and there's so much. And when he started playing music, it made more sense because now he's like categorizing music into like subgenres and stuff like that. So now I get to hear like, okay, what is this? What is this? What is this? I know what dubstep is obviously, and I know what house
because of Key and Peele.
I don't know.
Those comedians.
Kelly,
you've seen that, right?
No.
Anybody listening? I
don't know what that is actually.
If there's anybody still around, or in the future, if you scrub to the end, because sometimes that's where we leave the nuggets.
We're still here.
And here's a nugget: if you have never watched Key and Peele, they're comedians.
Yeah.
If you've never watched Key and Peele's episode called The Dubstep,
oh god,
you got
an episode called The Dubstep.
It's called The Dubstep.
Is it on Netflix?
Just
Netflix.
Just go for free. Straight up Google Key and Peele. It's like key like a car key and Peele P-E-L-E.
Yeah.
Just Key and Peele, dubstep, you're good to go.
Perfect.
You're gonna laugh. You're gonna laugh and you're gonna repost it on all the social media you have because it's that funny.
I can't wait. Yeah.
It's still funny.
Good.
I'm excited.
Yeah. That's like I don't know. Like there's so many subgenres of everything that it's like crazy.
They really are.
You know, and I know when I
are
hear
they micro genres yet, Kelly?
I feel like there has to be with that with all the house music going on, especially like everybody's doing house. I know when I hear breaks. I know when I hear house, and I know when I hear like dubstep. But when it comes to house, there's so many subs. I literally think of like a graph, like house, and then
it's like a tree. It's like a family tree.
Well, I've clearly made so many break beats that if I do play house, people are like, "Dude, I love your breaks."
Really? It was funny. I saw on Shui's thing.
I could guarantee you that mix I sent you, which is there's some breaks on there.
There's a ton of house though.
Right.
Yeah,
it's about half and half.
Yeah.
But I'll guarantee if I sent that to somebody, they'd be like, "Dude, love your breaks."
What was on Shui's thing?
It was when Shui, she played after Artelon at Breakbeats Champions, and I saw when they posted her set, somebody said, "Oh, look at the first track's house."
Oh yeah.
And she was like, "Well, I played after House Person, so when in Rome or whatever." And I was
like,
but like that's cool. Whoa. Like that she's super. She plays breaks. That's how I know she's breaks. But she brings in that little house track, and you're like, "Oh."
Well, them Deckard and Shui, they're both like house. They got a pretty good mix of house and breaks.
They're both very good at both.
Yeah, we listened to Deckard's set. It was
for
really good. Yeah, I was bummed I missed Deckard, but he was during Artelon at Breakbeats Champions.
We walked outside, and he dropped like a Bolak track. We were like walking to smoke a cigarette, and we're just like, "What's going on here?" Like, I got to get back to Shui.
It was our friend's first Breakbeats Champions this year. Our roommate Ryan.
Yeah.
And he was like, outside is dumping. And I was like, yeah, everywhere it's fucking dumping. It's Breakfast of Champions.
He got there like 9:30. He got there like noon or 1. We were like, dude, we got like 5 more. I was like, it's almost over with. We told you.
Get here at 8.
Here in the morning.
So I wasn't there this year. Obviously, I wasn't there this year, and all 3 of you were. And I'm going to start with Kelly. And the question is, did you cry, Uncle?
I did.
Angel, 3 seconds cried, Uncle.
No.
I did. Well, I was also there at like 5:30 because I got there early as shit.
Okay.
I got there really early to help, and I also wanted to get the lay of the land and everything. But at 5:30, I was there for 12 hours. So at 5:30 at night, I looked at my watch and I was like, well, at my phone. I didn't look at my watch. I don't have a watch. I'm not fancy like Wes. I don't have an Apple Watch. But I looked at my phone and I was like, okay, there's like 5,000 people still here. And everyone's and then in a half an hour, everyone's gonna order an Uber, and I'm gonna be like walking to the mission at this point.
We walked to Separate for Survivors. Yeah, we walked right to Public Works.
Got some
straight
chili.
from BOC. Yeah.
Delicious.
And Linda was like, I'm kidnapping you.
So you did not cry, Uncle.
No. We were ready for more.
I didn't either. I didn't either the time I went.
And we got there later this year than we did last year.
Yeah.
But I mean, we got there last year like
that's
right
only
because we
were in Mill Valley. We were in Mill Valley.
We had Airbnb further. But it was so cool because like I just felt like I was in such a time warp right when I walked in, and there was this guy last year that it was like it was probably like noon, and we're having the time of our lives. Just literally just so happy.
It happens.
And this guy comes walking up to me, and he's like, you guys haven't stopped smiling since you got here. And I was like, I literally don't know what to do. Like, I'm having the best time. I was 26 years old. I'm like, how have I never heard about this party before? Yeah. Like, this can't ever stop. Like, Space Cowboys, this better never stop. Let me tell you. It better never, like, that's what I'm saying. It's already been around for so long. If I only have a couple years of this, I will be heartbroken.
Yeah. I remember you telling me.
I had to beg him to go this year because we were just trying to save money and stuff like that. And then the second he heard Stanton Warriors are going to be there, he literally called me. He's like,
Stanton Warriors, I'm going to be there.
I texted him. I was like, Stanton Warriors are at Breakfast Champions. Literally not even 2 seconds later, flights to San Francisco for $9. It's like, yes, we're going to Breakfast Champions. Yes. Like, I'll never miss it ever again.
Well, I want to know what you thought about this, Kelly. My favorite part about BOC is like getting there early and just like watching from like, I feel like it's like 9 to like noon. It's like just watching that steady flow pile in there. Like, we were sitting there at like 10 and I was like, I feel like it was more packed last year. Like, is it not going to be as packed? And then we walked out to the front and the line down the block, like down 2 blocks. And I was like, oh, we're totally partying.
Which when I walked up, they're like, go and get your envelope and go do your thing. And I walked up there and I was the only one in that line at that point. So if that gives you any idea as to when I got there, as to when that was happening. I was looking around and I was like, okay, everyone says like, Wes is like, oh, it's the best party. She was like, oh, it's the best party.
Best party.
And I'm looking around and I'm like, there's no one here. But it was it was 6 in the morning, but everybody just kept piling in. Yeah, and I mean, I did a set that was the sun was rising, so at 7:24 the sun was up, right? So
on the inside or outside?
She was in the inside smaller stage.
I was inside, but you could see the sun.
No, I know. Yeah, that room, that's awesome. I told you, that's a great room.
Yeah, that was a fun.
You can leave it open.
Yeah.
So once that sun rose, like I was doing like a liquid set up until then, and then the sun rose, and then like I looked out, and then there was just people everywhere. I was like, oh, that was quick.
Yeah, it was funny because last year when we first went, so how we like originally met ShYo was my license or my whole purse got stolen the day before Christmas last year at Matt's old house. And so we had already had tickets to Breakfast Champions. I already had my flight booked, everything, but I didn't have an ID.
Are y'all the ones that asked me how to get in without an ID?
That might have been me, but it was ShYo responded to me. So it was crazy because, yeah, I didn't have an ID, and I was like, dude, I'm heartbroken. Like, how am I going to get into this place, you know? And like, first of all, I had to fly, so I have to bring, you know, everything that I have. And so I was like, okay, what am I going to do? So I messaged Space Cowboys, and I was like, hey, like, I have tickets to Breakfast of Champions. Like, what do I need to do to get in? Like, will security be cool and everything? And in order to get on the flight, I had a picture of my ID, because from my work, I printed a picture of my ID, a picture of an expired ID as well, and then my birth certificate and my social security card, and I had pay stubs.
Yeah. Oh my God, you had all the things.
Well, just to get on the plane, you know, because they're gonna like basically strip search you. And so when Breakfast of Champions got back to me, it was like, you know what, like that's kind of up to security, unfortunately, and like we hire security. It's not part of Space Cowboys or whatever. So, but just come and like see what happens. I'm sure you'll be fine. And it was signed ShYo. I didn't know who ShYo was at that point. And I was like, oh, okay, cool, for sure. And then we get to Breakfast of Champions last year, and there's nobody there. There's no line. It was 6:30 in the morning. And I also wanted to get there that early because of the fact that I didn't have an ID, you know? And I show up with 5 forms of identification, and I'm like, please let me in. Like,
nobody would ever fake this.
No, right? Yeah, and I flew from San Diego. I was like, please, like, I was literally, I have my birth certificate, my social security card, 3 forms of like my printed out ID. And the guy looks at me, he's like, you really want to fucking party, huh? And I was like, yes. He's like, just go. Yes. And then we were in line for food later, and Sam comes up to us, ShYo's boyfriend. Sam comes up with decked out cowboy outfit,
cowboy. That is
like velvet, and he's like, "Do you have a lighter? I have so many pockets in this place, but I can't find my lighter with all these pockets." And we start shooting this shit with him, and then he's like, "Oh, you should meet my girlfriend ShYo." He's like, "You guys look really familiar."
Like,
and it turns out that it was because ShYo messaged us, so he was like kind of stalking my Facebook page.
Oh yeah.
And he brings ShYo, and he brings ShYo over, and that's how we met ShYo, who then brought us onto you.
Sam came to like maybe 4 of the shows that ShYo and I did last year. Like we had fun at all of them, but when Sam shows up, it's just like
he's a character.
Like
he's a character.
He doesn't DJ, he doesn't produce. He's purely there to like, you know,
have a good time.
Fucking have a good time. He's the party facilitator.
We saw him inside this year. We saw him outside and we were talking over a little bit, and then we saw him inside, but he was kind of like barreling through, and it was right when ShYo got on.
Yeah. And he'll do that whole.
Well, and so I was like,
he looks like
line.
Yeah. And I was like, Sam, and he's just like, oh hey, and he just like runs into the center like he had no idea what's going on. Yeah, it's all shiny head. It was really funny. That's a great. It's a great freaking.
That's how I found out about breaks. That was like really. That was the couple.
I mean, I mean that's why I ended up playing there. There's no doubt about it. I mean, you know, like Kelly and I were talking a couple weeks ago, and I was like, you know, as I've done other projects and stuff, I'm like, dude, I was talking to a couple of the promoters I've played for in the past too, and they're kind of like all their scenes that had any breaks is just basically not now.
Yeah.
And this is like New York, St. Louis, you know, the Carolinas, in some places, you know, Tennessee, etc. Like they just, you know, and then one of them was like, we were just talking, and he was like, I was asking him, I was like, my perspective as I kind of move on and explore other types of other music that I'm into, you know, I was like, it seems to me like I hit that shit like, it's like the peak of the stock market.
Yeah.
You know? And he was like 100%, dude. He's like, there's not a single, like, because they had a breakbeat night running once a month for years, and they're like, you know, can't, you know, they're like, we're all playing tech house and whatever. Which
the breaks. It's
yeah,
so
which
good.
I don't really feel like, you know, I'm making that, but you know, there's clearly still a lot of, you know, broken elements to probably will always be to everything I do, but to a degree, but certainly funk in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, it is interesting. It is interesting, those cycles and how they go.
Yeah.
You know,
but the reason
and I'm sure we'll see it again. But if you drop into, my point was going to be, if you drop into BOC
every year,
and that's like, well, if that's the first place you hear breakbeat, then
you're hearing them.
You're like,
too.
Holy shit, I'm going to go around America and listen to this,
exactly,
or whatever.
We were blown away.
And that's the thing is that is it. I'm telling you, like like all the artists, like you know, Horger, Stanton Warriors have some unique experiences because at the time when they became effectively famous, you know, the dominant style was breakbeat.
Yeah.
So they traveled all over the world.
Yeah.
And, you know, their name, you know, has a different effect than a party that's supporting a genre.
Right.
Which is great, you know?
Yeah.
Very similar for the Crystal Method.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of people don't know, because if you've heard the Crystal Method in the last 5 years, you wouldn't be like, oh, they pioneered breakbeat.
Yeah.
But they did.
Yeah.
You know, like you go back and listen to their early stuff, and it's straight up breakbeat. And they're still huge fans of it. That's how they found me, but or we met up. But that's it's a strange thing. But all the current like people that are making music that's breakbeat, like that's why Martin was like, they don't tour, like there's nowhere to play.
The only guy that I've seen is Born
except
Dirty.
San Francisco.
Born Dirty is the only newer artist that I've come up with that has some. He's on the plays some Dirty Bird. It's on the Dirty Bird label a couple times, but like Check the Bell and a couple of times.
Born Dirty.
Born Dirty.
That's probably one of my favorites. I got him off Dirty Bird from Dirty Bird Campout. Yeah. But other than that, no.
Dude, I feel like
I haven't heard a whole lot from anyone.
It was like a trip down memory lane, dude, because I was like, I mean, it's been about 5 years since that. Kelly can fact check it. I'm pretty sure it was late 2013 when Bring Back That Funk when I released that.
I believe so, yes. About the time that Skrillex was winning a Grammy.
In that range. So I was just riding his coattails. And the funny thing was, I always said that at the time. I was like, dude, you know what? Like,
I was just ready.
Everyone was hating on dubstep.
Yeah.
And I was like, I love it, man, because and I still maintain to this day what dubstep did for me, although I've never made a single dubstep track or played one.
Yeah.
What it did for me was it put a genre other than four on the floor, you know, house on the map for the populace. Yeah. Worldwide.
That's so true.
And because of that, they were open to being like, all right, I'll check out this, or like, oh wait, this is like, it's not dubstep, but it's also not house. That's cool. I can dance, you know. So I think that was like a wave. Yeah. And I almost to the T. I think that the she's in and out. That 5 year wave of breaks for me was almost in line with like dubstep. Yeah.
How do you explain breaks to people though? Because when someone says like, what do you listen to? And I say breaks or whatever, people think breakbeat like break dancer music.
Right,
so I'm like, I'm like, it's the new break.
I just say house
music, you know?
with a dubstep.
So I say a mix between house and dubstep.
That house beat
but
with some dubby crunch in it. Like
for a long time, I would tell people it's like sped up hip hop.
Yeah,
you know,
because it's so true. Because like during,
but that was kind of pre-dubstep. But now that it's dubstep, I would say it's kind of like I would be like it's a little like dubstep, maybe not quite as harsh.
And yeah, it's not as abrasive.
You know? Yeah, abrasive is a good word. Yeah,
and like I mean, I catch myself like booty bump into breaks. You know, it's
for
like
sure.
So the hip hop aspect is like so it's money with that because I'm just like, oh my god, I'm like getting down like a hood.
I mean, that's its roots. It's hip hop.
It's
that's what it came from. It was originally all sped up hip hop, and then that's what it was, kind of out of the UK, and then really, at least as far as I can remember, at least as far as American artists, is like the Crystal Method. I think that's the first breakbeat I ever heard that was created like from scratch. Yeah, you know, like it wasn't hip hop sped up.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. That's kind of all what breakbeat was in the beginning, as far as like the rave scene.
Yeah,
it was basically all. I mean, hip hop's kind of like all remakes of a lot of old soul and R&B, right? So it was essentially, but rappers redoing the vocals, right? Yeah. And so like the first wave of breakbeat to me was, you know, once it came off of like UK hardcore and jungle, you know, it was the slower version of that, and all that whole entire genre was very much American hip hop sampled, almost all of it. Really? Yeah, if you go back like, I mean, go try to find. I don't know if you can, but if you try to find like a compilation that was from like the rave scene in like 20 years ago, it'll almost be all breakbeat, and it'll probably almost all be hip hop samples.
I thought it'd be like more psytrance stuff, like just like let's do it.
Not the US, not the US rave scene, and I didn't live in the UK, but I don't think much there either. I mean, all those genres existed, but you know, progressive house and all that stuff. But I mean, Kelly, you know, right? I mean, there was a time where fucking like breakbeat was so big, you didn't call it breakbeat. That's how big it was. I don't think people realize. It was just, it's what it was.
Yeah.
Like if you went to EDC now, but 20 years ago,
that's what you'd see.
It's all of it beat.
Jesus.
Right, Kelly? I mean, it was just.
Yeah, we didn't even call anything EDM. It was just techno. Like we just like techno. Like you could tell it was drum and bass because it was faster and a little bit more evil. But like everything else,
there was drum and bass and jungle. That was different.
Jungle, and then techno, but not techno as techno is today. There was that.
I kid you not. DJ Dan, Carl Cox would play a set to 500-600 people, almost all breakbeat.
Carl Cox,
really?
100%.
Like I don't know.
Carl Cox is one of the.
Dan, but not Carl.
Carl Cox is one of the best breakbeat like producers ever. Like his early shit before he went off and started this Worldwide Ultimatum brand. Yeah. He had mad breakbeats that were great, and he did them under different aliases and whatever production stuff, different things.
Whoa.
He was putting out mix CDs that would be like half breakbeat. Yeah. Wow. Some of my favorite breakbeat songs ever are from his mix CDs. Some produced by him, some not produced by him.
I'm gonna go find the music.
But nonetheless, his mix CDs.
Really?
You know, and then he but he was always on the techno side of it. You know?
Carl Cox is still dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But by the time, at least my recollection, by the time like Stanton Warriors, Rennie Pilgrim, you know, Uber Zone, by the time all those breakbeat acts came out, Carl Cox was long gone from it.
Like pure techno. I've seen him a couple times, and it's just not breakbeat.
Oh, no, he was pure techno at that point.
Yeah, okay.
He played at LIB that 2 sets like 2 years ago.
Yeah, and I mean, I saw him at EDC the one time I went, and it was nothing of that.
He still goes down
no break.
But like Kelly said, it was like you didn't.
It just wasn't. It wasn't categorized as breakbeat.
Not at all. Yeah. And I don't even know what happened. Kelly, I have no idea why.
All the categorizations has happened so.
I think it's because everybody has to silo everything into something.
You have to
overthink it so much, and
and that's all my friends. I'm like, I think it's good music. I'm like, look at my library. I'll give you some music, and to me, like, I don't even want to like tell you this is like tech house or breaks or like deep house. I don't even want to go into that. This is just my jams. Like, that's just. I don't want to. That's just the jams. Yeah. It's like I don't like getting. I've met a lot of people that get like really upset like with those genre like categories. It's just like I remember talking to a guy and being like, "You play dubstep?" He's like. Glitch hop, bro. And I was like,
I'm afraid to say.
Like,
I'm afraid to say a genre because I don't know what like someone's gonna get upset.
Right?
Some people get like,
it's not what they think. They're like hating on you forever.
I'm like, dude, I like your music. It's still good music. I'm not saying anything about that at all. Like,
if people would ask you, I do remember if people would ask you what kind of music do you listen to, it was kind of like one of those things that you're like, dance music. You know, like, well, because the reality of it is you're going to raves, and raves did not have a great reputation with the adults. The adults knew if you were going to raves, you were going there to fuck up, right?
Yeah, dude.
So you'd be like, dance.
I'm fucking up safely.
You're going to get turned.
No, you're right. Yeah, there's no turn or anything like that. So no,
you're not getting lit.
Yeah, it was all rave took care of all terms. Rave took care of all subterms of getting fucked up.
If you're going to a rave,
that just described it all right there.
So now people ask, and they're like, "What do you listen to?" People are like, "Dance, electronic dance, or EDM," and they're like, "Oh," and they know what that is. It's no longer associated with the rave. I don't think, at least. Maybe it is.
The rave. The rave. What are you drinking there, Kelly?
Oh, this is Best Health's sparkling seltzer water, and I have a little bit of a mandarin orange in there because I had a mandarin orange earlier.
Oh, it looked like a beer because your shirt is black.
This is not
what are we doing switching lanes tonight?
I'm super down to go listen to some music. Yeah.
You know what time they open?
9, 10?
No
I don't know what time it is.
It's like 9:20.
It's like 12:18. You mean?
We've been shooting the shit for 2 hours.
Oh yeah, you're
in New York
on New York time.
I'm on New York time. It is currently a monsoon. I'm not even kidding you. Like since we've been here, the rain is crazy and the wind is picking up. We're supposed to have 50-mile-per-hour winds, which is kind of difficult when you're on a floating object.
I was just saying, you're on a houseboat, aren't you?
I'm on a houseboat and it is windy. Do you see me?
Well, we don't do, we don't ever do this late.
Yeah.
It's usually on Wednesday at 5.
Oh.
And which works out better.
Well, I hope we've been entertaining.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've been like this before sometimes.
We got to figure out.
I saw you balancing donuts on your head.
That's early one.
We saw you doing.
We've had
We've
had some times where I've gone down the rabbit hole of some topic.
I was trying to do like the porpoise and
oh yeah, she's got it.
I did do
is that like a magnet that helps you?
This is just
no, we gotta do in the future.
Stress test.
I don't know why we waited until episode 44 for me to think about it, but it just occurred to me that we could probably pretty easily have anybody who's listening in the beginning or whatever, we could probably pretty easily just have them join the conversation if they wanted to, have a guest question or
ask questions,
a game piece move or what.
Phone a friend,
something like that. All right. Well, it's been so long since we actually had anybody listening.
No, we had viewers, and Eric Rigsby just sent me something saying, "Great show."
Oh, Rigsby did?
No, Rigsby.
Who?
Huh?
Who was on?
Eric
who?
Eric Rigsby. Come on.
Oh, it was Rigsby. Yeah, he's the most mentioned person ever on the Variety ShYo, and it's hard to compete with that because I think he's been mentioned in every episode.
Sup, Rigsby?
Yeah. So you may never catch up. Sup, Eric? Jiu-jitsu specialist, DJ. Hey, he's playing at.
He's in the Bay Area.
He's playing at Juice Night Out.
Yeah.
San Francisco.
We're coming.
Yeah, we might go.
Yeah. and I want to tell you, not by mistake, we have 2 guys and 3 ladies on the lineup.
Excellent.
Ooh.
I love the ladies.
Yeah.
Fred.
Killing it.
And they rock.
Makes me so freaking happy when I see girls in the lineup. I'm sorry.
I think that's so much of a California thing. I'm very impressed by the California thing with the ladies on the lineups.
It's rad, yeah.
Yeah, you feel like there's more out here than anywhere else?
Yeah, but it's more like a all-female night.
Right.
That's all female.
Which brings up an interesting thing with 2 dudes, 2 ladies on the show today. Well, no, because no, but like you do hear, like to your point, Kelly, you do hear, or I do hear, especially in social media realms, you'll hear, a lot of women don't want the focus to be on the fact that it's a woman thing,
right? And
I agree. I think that's kind of what you're saying, right? They're like women nights.
Yeah, well, they should just be a DJ, just like everybody else.
Agreed.
Totally.
Yeah, I'm definitely on board with that.
Yeah.
You throw it down, you throw it down.
Yeah. I agree. At the same time, though, my mom has been visiting for forever now. You'll know that. Yeah. And many points about my mom, but 2 relevant to this thing. So I was talking to my mom about this, and so this is a person who's a different couple generations, and she's like, but she's like, that's fine, and she agrees with that, but she also is like telling me more like as a mother-son kind of thing. She's like, if you want to help, like women have had challenges just getting enough women with the opportunity to be able to, let's say, get as good at a particular skill.
Right.
It doesn't mean there aren't. By no means am I saying that, but I'm just saying, like, this is coming from my mom. She's like, well, just because of the issues they have had over time, you're just not going to run into as many DJs or whatever's, right? And from her perspective, like in her generation, to her, that's the way it is. That's what she sees. And it's probably not totally untrue, balanced out with the way that probably you and like Kelly want it to be,
right?
Where it shouldn't be like the focus, the women's panel or the women's DJ lineup,
exactly.
or
like
whatever.
I don't want to see that kind of stuff. Like I just want to see it all mixed in. Like I don't need a women's night because honestly, like it's not like I won't go to that, but it's like I'm not like a
Yeah, well, so I've shared that.
Yeah,
right,
you know,
and so I've
like,
shared that with my mom, and at the same time, she's like, I totally agree, and that's how it should be.
Yeah.
But she, in her telling me and knowing me my whole life, she's like, but if you want to help, it's not bad. Like, because I would feel like there would be times where I would go to make a decision, and I would be like, okay, both, you know, let's say two people have equal skill, or I might look for women to do something.
Right.
And I would start to feel like a little bit like, should I do that? Because there's this whole group of women, they're like, don't focus on that.
Yeah.
So I'm just chatting with my mom, and she's like, absolutely. She's like, you should still. She's like, because the scorecard is very uneven.
Yeah.
She's like, so there's absolutely nothing wrong. You don't have to make it a women's night. But for example, with like the party coming up in San Francisco, you know, she's like, nothing wrong. If you want to go out and make a point of having 3 out of 5 people, women on the lineup, go do it.
Yeah.
She's like, but go find ones that are
gonna kill it
skill-wise equal.
Yeah.
Right.
And nothing wrong with that. But there's nothing wrong with having a focus to try to promote women's presence in whatever it is you're responsible for. Because she's like, it is totally unfair.
Preach, mama. Preach,
And I
mama.
don't think that women that like, because there's no like men's night DJing, you know,
right? Yeah.
You know, so it's like it's kind of,
but the imbalance is severe with opportunity.
Right,
is
but
the
it's
problem.
also because I think a lot of women are unfortunately shunned or like
Definitely.
scared to
Definitely.
do it, to put themselves out there, because they're going to be like, screw you, you're a woman, you can't DJ. It's like, I listen and dance music just as hard, if not harder than you. So
Agreed.
I should be able to make
Agreed.
the music, and
Agreed.
you know, my ears are just as good as yours. So
Totally.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've been listening and dancing to music just as long as this fool has.
And I totally agree with that. And I think, like Kelly was saying, I think West Coast, and I think particularly music, I think is more liberal, so it's more open to trying to make that not a focus, but a thing, which is just the way it is.
Well, that's the thing. I don't want it to
But there's
be
definitely a systemic prejudice
Yeah.
that's been there, so that has to be overcome as well.
Yeah.
It's
Well, and
just
I
both
think
issues.
also just kind of like sliding them in there. It's not like, hey, there's this women's night DJing going on. It's just like, just start throwing them in there, and then it'll become part of the norm.
People
It
will
Well,
doesn't
you know,
have to be
I asked
like-
Shui to come do all those shows with me last year because I knew she'd slay it.
She's so
Not once did it ever cross my mind, but I was also stoked
Yeah.
that she was a woman, because
And
it just
she's
gave a
tiny
nice
little
balance.
woman.
Well, it just gave us a nice
I love
balance
it.
to the party, right?
Yeah,
Like a lot
it
of
really
people
does.
showed up that were fans of her, or great to see a co-headlining woman.
Yeah, they bring a
And
different
then
vibe.
people came for me, so it was cool. We had a lot of fun. It's
They
great.
bring a different, a
Yeah,
little
she
different
Does
thing.
make it more
And it's
fun.
not like a feminine, like
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
thing. You know, she's not up there in like a mini skirt, like, you know.
Definitely not.
She's up there
She
killing
was
it,
there to
with little
slay it.
self, just like,
Yeah.
Shui's there to slay it. You can
she's
tell.
nasty.
prisoners,
I
for
love
sure.
it. Yeah, she's so good.
So the other reason I brought up my mom, that she's visiting for 2 months, because I moved, and then my old apartment basically it was going to be empty, so I couldn't sublet it. So I was like, hey, mom, she loves San Diego. So But the other point related to the variety show is that I convinced her to do. We're going to do an episode, Kelly. I didn't tell you yet, but we're going to have my mom on an episode.
Yes.
So I'm gonna talk about this like the next 3 or 4 before we do it, before she leaves. So the next 2, and then we'll have her. But
Is she in Washington? Does she live
no,
in
she's here.
Washington?
She's still
But
here,
does she live in
hanging
Washington?
out, Florida.
Oh, Florida. Okay.
But what we thought would be a great episode, so she agreed to do, was that basically she's gonna tell. She and I have traveled, and I think we have traveled like some crazy trips together over the last 10 years, and so we wrote them all down. Like the 10 or no, it's about 8 of them, or 6 or 8 of them, whatever. Some were because she instigated them, some were because I instigated them. But the point was kind of that it was a nice like mother-son thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're gonna like go through the chronicle of those stories,
Cool.
which I think will be fun.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah. And it may just be fun or interesting for people to listen to. Maybe trip ideas, travel. People like to do that.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to make a point that I think it's, I've really had some amazing times being close to my mom, and I think that's something that maybe some people don't have the opportunity. But if you do have that opportunity and you don't do it, you really should. That's why, whether it's mother, father. My father is no longer living, so I can't do it. But whatever the case is, don't let that time slide by. And hopefully, the 10 years that we're going to talk about is going to be like a kind of like a chronicle, like that. If someone's interested in that, maybe a few people will realize like, oh shit, I could do that. I need to like,
it's a process,
or dad or whatever, or brother or sister or whatever it is. That, is
reach
close.
out.
You just got to start the process, and then
Yeah, and it's amazing how fast it goes.
Yeah.
Because when we were just talking about it, listing them out, we were like,
holy cow.
it's like 15 years almost since like we went
so
watching
awesome.
whales and shit.
Yeah,
Like,
that's so cool.
anyway,
Yeah.
we're going to do that one. That'll be a non-music one.
Cool.
I did not meet my mother through music.
Or did you?
Exception number,
You were missing.
that'll be exception number 1. Damn it.
Oh my gosh, you got the New York City mud coffee, huh?
Yeah, this is an old shirt.
Oh.
Are they still around?
I don't think so.
Yeah, they were like the original coffee truck in New York City.
Have you always been in New York, Kelly? I'm from Boston.
You're from Boston? Woohoo! I'm from upstate New York, but I've done like a little tour down the East Coast and back again. So
Okay, cool. Nice. Awesome.
I've only been here for what, 2 years? 2 years. 3 years, going on 3 years.
Yeah, I moved here when I was 11, so.
Yeah, there you go. Sunny San Diego. I'm jealous.
Yeah, but I do miss it there. We're trying to maybe go to Colorado, move to Colorado.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he's like, yeah.
No, Matt wants to move to Denver for sure.
They got Breaksgiving up there. I saw that on Instagram and I was like, wait.
Denver
what?
doesn't-
Moving to
Denver doesn't
Denver
have
for
some-
Breaksgiving.
That's,
That's literally.
I was like, sign me up.
Yes, Denver
moving to
doesn't have
Mexico.
Breaksgiving. Huh?
I'm moving to Mexico. What? No, I just have a friend that's a whole nother story. Tequila Mike, you know Tequila.
Ooh, I would like
Mike.
it. Good time.
Good guy to know.
He and I have been friends a long time. There's a
Mike
Variety ShYo episode where he does Kelly and I almost don't talk, and he just spends like 40 minutes with a proper presentation about how tequila is made.
Oh,
man.
Do you know what episode number it is,
I know
Kelly?
a few of those
No,
guys.
I have no idea.
I don't know. It's back there, but his name's
Oh,
Michael
okay.
Williams.
I think
So the
it's like
episode
7.
Michael
Hold
Williams.
on, I'll look.
It's pretty early, and we might get an update from him because he could tell us more about tequila, but also because and the reason I mentioned him and I said Mexico is because he has a 10-bedroom house now in Mexico.
Wow.
Yeah, so he basically found like some dilapidated
You
house.
You should
not
send me.
functioning home.
You should send me to Mexico, and I'll do it. I'll do a variety show on location.
Let's all do.
Why don't we both go stay at his 10-bedroom house and do a variety show on location?
He's number 19.
19.
We can call it Mexicio.
Mexico. Oh, we're good.
Amazing. It's like looking for Volkswagens. Once you join the Yo Squad, you start to realize all these words. It flows sometimes. Some not so much. But
it'll work.
But you can try.
Even if it doesn't.
I was so tickled the day I thought about Juice Radio. I was like, "Are you fucking kidding? I can put yo at the end of radio."
Oh,
I know. I'm fully aware that most of the rest of the world does not get the same satisfaction that I do out of that. Fully aware of this.
But that's fine.
It's not for
It's
them.
totally fine.
Yeah, exactly.
It's I don't know what it's for, but yeah.
That's awesome.
Kelly, I guess we'll wrap it up so you can go to bed. Are you going to bed or are you going to go out and party on a Thursday night?
I was gonna go to Essential Thursdays, but it's 12:30, and I've got things to do tomorrow. So,
all right.
I got to put this online.
You got to put this online. That's
So
definitely
many things.
going to take a long time,
I got to put this
especially since
online.
it's recorded live online.
I gotta put it online. Yeah. No, I don't think I'm gonna go. I don't think I'm gonna go out. I have a friend in town too from Florida, and the poor guy comes into town, and it's weather out there, you know. So.
Oh, weather sucks, huh?
You don't even want to go outside right now?
Am I what?
You don't even want to go outside right now? Is it?
Oh hell, I'm not going outside. Mm-mm.
Damn.
It's not happening now. Mm-mm. I don't go outside if it's cold and rainy. Which I live in New York City.
I was gonna say,
That's why I
what's
moved to San
going
Diego.
on?
Kelly, I will say this, you don't realize because you're not in this room, you can't see what we're seeing, but this is the first time we had the laptop set up like this. And it's actually, for me anyway, it's been pretty fun because we've had you on one the whole time.
Yeah.
And then we've had the one with Matt and I on the other, and flipped it a little bit, but mostly Matt and I, the one we're on. Yeah. anyway, we can see it. It makes it a little different because before when we had them turned, we couldn't see her.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
We've only had this table like this for the last 4 episodes.
Oh, okay.
Previously, this was shifted around, and that big monitor was this sitting like this.
Oh,
so
okay.
Whoever was here could see her.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen one, and I was like, it didn't look like this.
Right.
This is a reconfig.
I definitely feel more included in it, even though you guys are playing games. I feel more included in it because people are. I think before I was just kind of like,
I'm just here.
We can definitely see you with a donut on your head now.
We
know.
We saw the balancing act.
We know when Kelly's bored.
See, I thought that I was just a little like thing at the bottom, and
you're big screen right here.
Screen.
Oh,
now we have two laptops. You can see the corner of one here. There's another one right over here.
I'm in the corner.
Yeah, there's two like 15-inch laptops or whatever sitting here, or 4, whatever they are. Stop being a tech geek. Then I guess we're gonna just say stay classy, yo.
Cool. Stay classy.
Bye everybody.
Bye.
See you later.